Good morning, everybody. Welcome to a new season. It is here. It is finally here. The NBA has returned. Opening night tonight featuring the Boston Celtics and the Philadelphia 76ers, the Los Angeles Lakers, and your defending champions, the Golden State Warriors. A doubleheader on NBA on TNT Tuesday, October 18th. We are back. We are here. We are better than ever. A little bit of a technical difficulty to start off the show. Got that fixed. We're up and running. I hope you're ready. We had an entire off season of drama, of shenanigans, and here we are, back to where we belong, with the best basketball community on Twitter and the best voice on Twitter Spaces for your NBA coverage. Shout outs to everybody who makes any part of the day part of Hoop Spaces, brought to you by Slam Goods. That's right, Slam Online's online marketplace, slamgoods.com. Your apparel, collectible, accessory needs right now. They have this bomber jacket that I want to buy because it's really cold, y'all. Head over there. Promo code Hoop Spaces. Promo code HOOPSPACES. Save 15% off your purchase site wide. All right, lots to get into for tonight's games. I'll get the tweet card up, run the showdown, and I'll be back in 30. Thank you, everybody. Good morning. All right. Good morning, man. Good morning. I tell you, it snowed. It got real cold last night. Woke up. It's just a beautiful day. There's ice, snow, gray skies, cold wind, and I am happy. I'm ecstatic. I hope you are too, because tonight starts our life again, as one poem used to say. Look, we've got the best game with the best athletes coming tonight. You should be happy. You should be celebrating. It's NBA basketball season, the best time of year, except for Christmas and your birthday. Shout out to you if your birthday is October 18th. That's dope. All right. If you want to, Mike, go ahead and raise those hands. We will bring you up. We've got some news and notes to go over because we do have a mandatory timeline for rookie extension deals for people in the 2019 draft. And so there are some people who came in at the last minute to get their contract extensions. And there's a whole rack of people who also missed out. We want to get that. And we also want to talk about the games, and we want to talk about the power rankings. The preseason power rankings are here on NBA.com. I'll get that tweet up there. We've got some questionable placements. We have that to discuss. And of course, we're going to talk about what you want to see this year from your team. All right. So make sure you do us a favor. Raise your hand to come up. If you can't come up, hop in that chat box. I got the show card up there. Please like and retweet. Let the good people know that we are open up for business. And we will say good morning first to Joe, the historian. And then we will say good morning to our friend Scott, a.k.a. Nothing But Heat. Joe, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Chris. What a great day. NBA starting today. My Yankees playing their game 5. It's a good day.
Yeah, no, it's a great day. I look, man. Congratulations on your Yankees outlasting the Mets, being the team of New York, and congratulations on the NBA coming back and the Brooklyn Nets being listed as the 10th best team for the power rankings. Let me get.
That's so funny, but it's always good to be hated. So 10th. I was 10th for Brooklyn to be in the play-in again. I just thought that was kind of hateful, but saying to each their own. But I wanted to ask you a question, Chris. My question is to you. This off season, what you thought was the biggest drama? The Celtics, the Phoenix, or us?
Okay, we can definitely get into that. Do me a favor, write that as a tweet so I can share it up there so everybody can add their thoughts as well. I see Bonkai getting ready to come up, and then I'll answer it after the good mornings, Joe. So get that tweet up there, and then we'll share it. Scott, aka Nothing But Heat, there might be a second or two delay as he reads the captions. Good morning, Scott. Happy NBA tip-off. I hope
Yeah,
you're
I'm
doing
reading
well.
them. I'm seeing everything. I think this season is going to be one of the most unpredictable seasons ever. I mean, you got look at the Miami Heat. Some have them in the top three. Some have them having in playing game. Some have them having outside the rankings. It's insane. But I'm just really ready to get back to the season. But if you're counting out the Heat and their style of play, no team wants to play them right now. We need to get that straight.
Oh, hey Scott, appreciate it, man. I agree. The Heat people just they don't like them for whatever reason. They can win the East and come back, and people say they barely win 40 games. They lose PJ Tucker, but like how much of a loss is PJ Tucker? He's 37. He was already trending down towards the end of the regular season and playoffs. And they did it again. They brought in more young players nobody ever heard of unless you really follow college basketball. And it looks like they're ready to go for another great year, led by the recently extended Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, and Jimmy Butler. I love the Heat. I think they're going to be hyper competitive as always. Bonkai, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, Chris. Good morning, everybody. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. It's like it's not Christmas yet. Christmas will be in about 10 hours and 22 minutes, but I tell you what, man, I'm happy.
Yeah, you're right. Waiting for the games tonight. Get out of work early, so I should be able to set up and watch them. It's pretty cold over here in New York. I wasn't expecting it. I almost walked out of the house with shorts and a hoodie, but you definitely need some sweats and a hoodie.
Yeah, we have a Arctic front that snapped a polar snap that came through Canada. It was like 34 this morning when I woke up, and I don't care. I just poured some hot water with some ginger and some lemon, and looked at my TV and started counting down the hours until the NBA is here.
Yeah, I'm
All
in
right.
Connecticut. It's cold out here too.
It's
Yeah.
crazy what a 10-degree difference makes, right? Because over here, if it hits 60, it's like, it's kind of like a nice day, not too cold, not too hot. Right now, it's 50 and it feels cold.
We have another person up here, Benny Blue Chip, the basketball back Benny. That's a lot of alliteration there. Good morning, Benny. How you feeling?
What's up, yo? I'm feeling great, man. I woke up this early for literally no reason at all. I just couldn't sleep because fucking basketball's back, you know. But I didn't know. I didn't realize. I didn't see who said who was talking about the Heat. But I just wanted to ask a question. Who is y'all's starting power forward? Like, do you have an answer?
Right now, it looks like it's going to be Caleb Martin.
That would be Caleb.
Caleb Martin?
Caleb Martin will be starting out the season as the starting forward. That just adds a new dimension. It allows us to push the ball. I think that's the style of play we're going to see. It's a lot like Golden State. I don't think any two teams has the same type of offensive style, and that would be the Golden State Warriors and the Miami Heat. And those are tough offenses to go against, and that's what makes it frustrating to other teams to face. And probably that's why everybody thinks Miami Heat is a seasonal team and not a playoff team.
Oh no, I think the Miami Heat are definitely a playoff team. I just don't know if they have enough in the regular season to get like the same like top 4 seed that they did last year. Just because I don't know what kind of offensive leap Bam is going to take and how well Tyler Hero is going to contribute, even now that he might be a starter. There's just a lot of things that are up in the air for the Heat, I think.
All right.
I said this about a month ago too, and saying I think the Heat is a playoff team, but I don't believe in Jimmy Butler as somebody's number one for them to do anything other than get to the finals.
Oh no, I
Like
believe
they
in
could get to the final.
guys,
that
guys,
man
chill.
averages 8.
All right, let me continue on. We can hop into the talk. Like y'all are ready. I love it. News and notes first, though. I want to get this out the way. Yesterday at 6 p.m. was the rookie contract extension deadline for those drafted in the 2019 draft, and there were some other players who are also contract eligible for an extension who set an arbitrary deadline of the opening of the season who did not come to an agreement. So the names you need to know first in this aspect are the ones who did not agree to rookie scales. That is Cam Johnson of Phoenix, which is kind of surprising. PJ Washington out of Charlotte, Grant Williams out of Boston, all missed out on the deadline. Originally reported DeAndre Hunter of Atlanta missed the deadline. However, he actually did agree. I think it was around like 6 minutes before the deadline. The league had the paperwork, they processed it. So he actually did sign his contract extension, 4 years, 95 million. 82 is going to be easily deliverable, right? So you're looking at 82 plus 13 mil in incentives. Kevin Porter Jr. signed his 4 years, 82 and a half, partially guaranteed. Pascal Siakam and Klay Thompson are the veterans of note who did not reach a contract extension with the current squad. Pascal Siakam's kind of surprising. I never thought that there would be a problem in Toronto re-signing him. And Klay Thompson, I expected for him not to get it. They didn't even really have a talk. And I had said already, I'm actually expecting sometime this year for Jordan Poole to supplant Klay Thompson, possibly in the starting lineup at 2 guard. And then maybe they move Klay up to 3 and bring Wiggins off the bench. Hey, like when you're Golden State and you got that type of problem, it's a good thing to have. So there you go. Those are the contract extensions that happened or didn't happen. And then, of course, we now have word out of Charlotte. James Bouknight arrested for DUI. He was found unconscious, loaded firearm apparently in the vehicle. Investigation is on the way. Charlotte has said they released a statement saying we are aware of the situation and they're essentially fact-finding. This is a troubling trend here, as this is now the 3rd time in the calendar year, 5th time within the last 18 months, dating all the way back to before the draft, where there has been an incident involving James Bouknight. I hope that he gets the help away from basketball that he needs. I'm not up here to try to make fun of him, saying he's screwing his career over. There are plenty of stories of young men who succumb to either substance abuse or mental health issues from anxiety and major life changes. Being drafted and becoming a pro basketball player can accentuate those stresses. I just want the best for James Bouknight. Now, on a caveat, I said this when Coach Borrego was fired. It was not Coach Borrego's fault. That there was way more in Charlotte going on than either Coach Borrego was saying during the media briefings or the actual PR and front office was giving out of Charlotte. And hopefully now, James Borrego doesn't have a cloud that was kind of following him as people were trying to paint him out to be a totalitarian. He wanted to bring about responsibility and accountability as part of a core pillar of culture, and he had trouble with some of the players wanting to buy in. And now we know who they are. So there we go. All right, tonight, Boston and Philadelphia, Golden State, and the Lakers. We've got so much to talk to, but Joe did ask us a question first, so we're going to answer Joe's question. Joe, did you get that tweet up yet?
I couldn't get the tweet up, but somebody did tweet me and told me this is funny. Don't forget the knockout in Oakland. So, saying now it's, saying it's Boston, Brooklyn.
There's no drama. There's no drama in Golden State.
I didn't say it was, but somebody just said don't forget the knockout in Oakland. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, I mean, it is for some people. For me, it's not. It's complicated. There's a measure of toxic masculinity. There's a measure of the inability to control one's emotions and recognize red flags. But more importantly, it was already handled. Like, it was done. It was over. And then the video leaked. And then social media and media took over. And then it was handled again. So like there was like, was it a bad incident? Yeah, but there was zero drama comparative to Kyrie Irving requesting a trade, Kevin Durant requesting a trade, Joe Tsai essentially saying, "Hey, if you don't want to come play, fine, but I'm backing Steve Nash and Sean Marks." Phoenix's debacle, which by the way, that's my answer. Anytime an owner is essentially forced to sell their team, that's never a good thing. So to me, the most drama filled is Phoenix, because you have that, and then you have DeAndre Ayton admitting he hadn't talked to Coach Monty Williams the entirety of the offseason. You have him basically saying he didn't want to return. You also had him basically saying he and Chris Paul don't get along. You have the Kardashian curse with Devin Booker, on again, off again with I forget the one's name. I don't pay attention to him. I forget. But so you got the Kardashian curse. Jay Crowder wants to get up out of there. Like, he hasn't reported. Like, if you pick any team that says they have more drama than Phoenix, you got to tell me, because I ain't seen it. And then you have
it's ridiculous. It's like, what, a year removed from the finals?
Yeah, and then you have Charlotte too, right? Like, they fired the coach, Miles Bridges, now James Bouknight. LaMelo Ball goes down. LaMelo Ball has said, like, hey, he's really wanting to play with his brother. They cut LiAngelo. Like, it's going to be a mess in Charlotte too. And I'm here for it. It's going to be, all right, there you go. Kendall Jenner. There is no Kardashian
I want to say Kendall too. But do you think that for that, is he leaving? You think that he's not going to stay in Charlotte? Somebody said that too.
Well, LaMelo. Yeah, I don't think he's staying in Charlotte. The biggest question is Devin Booker staying in Phoenix. I put a tweet out yesterday, and it's just a thought. Are the Phoenix Suns secretly tanking for Victor? Because if you look at it, they are primed to potentially throw in the towel here, right? CP3's like on year 18. Let's say he gets hurt. Then you're going to be running DeAndre Ayton and Devin Booker out there. Like, okay, well, what if DeAndre Ayton really doesn't want to be there? Chris Paul's out. And you'd be like, you know what? We could move off this contract December 15th. Let's go ahead and hit up Indiana.
You're talking about La Familia, Chris.
you hit up Indiana, right? And DeAndre Ayton magically goes to Indiana. They get Indiana trade assets. They make another trade. And then boom. They're right there in the wheelhouse with the Utah Jazz and San Antonio Spurs. All right, let's go to Benny first. Then we'll hit up Scott. Young Harriet has joined the stage, and I see Swiper and Big Mo in the building. If you want a mic, go ahead and request it. We are here talking NBA opening night on NBA on TNT. Good morning. Benny, go ahead.
Yeah, so just one thing I wanted to say about LaMelo. If there's any person that would bypass like the traditional NBA convention and completely opt out of their rookie max contract, like to the teams that drafted them, I think it would be LeVar Ball's son. So I think there's like a 75% chance of that happening. And as far as Phoenix, that's a crazy conspiracy theory that they're secretly tanking for Victor. I've never even thought about it until now, but they really are like one Chris Paul like wrist away from like guaranteed top 5 pick, because we know what Book and Ayton are together. It's like 30 wins. So I mean, that's just great. I've just never thought about that. But one thing I wanted to say about Charlotte is that I think there should be a lot of pressure on GMs to make sure that even in a young core, they have proper veterans that are there to lead these kids, because they are like they're grown men, but they are still teenagers coming out of college to play basketball, getting millions of dollars for it. And I think without that guidance, it's hard for a lot of people, as it would be for anybody.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. It's a transition from being a teenager, young adult, to having to be a pro, and they talk about this in the league. Scott, did you open up? Did you want to say something, and then we'll move to Young Harriet?
It's Young Heavy, Chris.
What's up? Oh, Young Heavy. I thought it was Young Harriet. Sorry, my bad. What's up, Young Heavy? How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, man? I appreciate you giving me a mic. I come in here I just started coming in here a lot, but you got something dope going on with Hoop Spaces, man.
I appreciate that.
On the Charlotte situation, Charlotte is, I mean, yeah, it's a dumpster over there, and the culture isn't good. I mean, somebody mentioned that like a year ago that I'm good friends with. He said the culture wasn't good in Charlotte, and that's actually becoming true. So I wouldn't be surprised that LaMelo will be out of there once his contract is up. I mean, they're not building nothing great there. The Phoenix situation, that take you got might not be as bad as people think. Because I honestly feel like Phoenix is going to take a step back this year. They'll still make the playoffs, but I feel like they're going to take a step back this year. You can really see that Ayton doesn't want to be there. It's clearly in his energy he doesn't want to be there. And Chris Paul is getting older. So I honestly, that take isn't a bad one. And also, I also just wanted to say the Lakers will win tonight against Golden State. They will ruin ring night.
You know what? I don't know if you're gonna keep saying that. Anthony Davis has been downgraded to probable, which is never a good sign on opening night with back soreness and tightness. As somebody who has a fantasy team with him on it, trust me, I'm not happy. Uh, so you got that. If he goes down, young heavy, I don't think your prediction is gonna work out. Do me a favor, shoot me a follow back so you can stay in touch. The newsletter went live yesterday. It's going to be low intensity for the first week or so as the teams start actually playing. But what you'll end up getting is a quick summary, the best players, and then links to a whole bunch of articles so you don't have to go looking around. All right, go ahead, Joe. What's up, man? How you doing?
I was saying that at the beginning of the all season, this all season alone, I was just thinking of your owner saying that you have a generational player and you don't want to pay him because you're not sure if he's reliable or not. To your like 2 years removed from being called the best player in the game, say he wants to be traded, and he calls out your general manager and your coach, and to be starting the NBA season, and you actually pick Phoenix as the biggest drama this all season is crazy. That's why I just thought, because I was saying Phoenix myself, but just to have all that for Brooklyn to have the all season they had, and you to actually pick Phoenix is insane to me.
Well, I mean, if you look at what happened in Brooklyn, all the players still came back, right? like, I don't think a lot of people understood what was going to happen. The only way they both left is if Kyrie left, and nobody wanted Kyrie, and nobody wanted to give Brooklyn what they wanted for KD. So that was it. Like, that's why Sean Marks was pretty firm in saying, "Yeah, whatever. Like, go ahead, Kyrie, go find a new home, and if you can, we'll blow it up." But he knew the lay of the land. He knew there was only one place Kyrie could go, and he knew that he wasn't going to trade Kyrie for Russell Westbrook. Like, that's it. After you figured that out, like there was nothing else in Brooklyn, so they came back.
I had to give it to you. You've been saying it like, well, I think about a month and a half in the off season that this team was staying together. Like, I have to give that to you.
Yeah.
But saying the whole thing in Phoenix, I believe that Devin Booker is gone because, like, saying like I remember I was in the spaces earlier. They saying he's like one of the top three shooting guards in the game, and saying like for this, I really think that this is gonna be saying his last couple of seasons in Phoenix. And it's just how that saying 2 years removed from the finals and how that team looked to how everything is going now. I mean, DeAndre Ayton was talking to his coach for what the whole off season. It's saying, and then from the owner. So for that to happen, it's really a shame for Phoenix.
All right, let me get some shout outs down below. We also have JFK up on stage. If y'all new, welcome. Where were you last year? 217 episodes of Hoop Spaces covering the NBA, the WNBA, the offseason, Eurobasket, ready for season number 2. Shout out to all the content creators that have worked and collaborated with me throughout the year. 77 Spaces with Rolo and Jose and Jazz, Hawks Fam TV with Hawks HFTV Spaces, Dimes Bank, Live from the Mecca, the Rewind Pod, Golden Spaces with the Hoopstresses as well as a spinoff. Big Mo in the building, getting ready to rock out with the new Knicks Lounge. I see Swiper holding you down for all your Denver Nuggets takes. I appreciate every single one of them who come in and provide y'all the entertainment and value you need. So make sure you shoot them a follow. And as we get to the bottom half of the first hour, welcome to Hoop Spaces, brought to you this season by Slam Goods, slamgoods.com. Look, I'm going to do this a lot, but this morning specifically, I woke up to get my mail. It was hella cold. I threw on this double XL Slam to the World hoodie. It's like the super thick hoodie, and it was so comfortable. I still have yet to take it off, even though it's like 70 degrees in my house. JF Cake is up here on the stage. He heard some Miami talk a little bit earlier. Look, Caleb Martin is starting at the 4. People are starting to make fun of it. I don't think you understand what Miami is trying to do. They are now zagging while everybody is zigging. They are going to take a hybrid approach to be able to run, play defense, and hit open threes off of double screens and pin downs. So what you can expect is a lot of dribble penetration from the likes of Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero, Victor Oladipo, kicking out to shooters such as Duncan Robinson, Max Strus, and Gabe Vincent. And what we really need to know, though, is this the year that Bam Adebayo puts it all together? Because if he doesn't, that's the question. What's next? Because you're supposed to be able to sail off into the future with both Bam and Tyler being your two pieces of the cornerstone. And if Bam can't get above 19-9, what do you have then? JFK, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, Chris. Man, it's great to be in the hoop spaces where people are not calling Jimmy Butler a backcourt player for the Miami Heat. It's tough to have conversations with people who can't get positions right. I just want to say before I go on to the Heat, again, before the season starts, Chris, shouts out to all the paper champ. Make sure you get all your championship celebrations in for what you see on paper, okay? The real test starts now. That's what we get on the court today, Chris. So moving forward with the Miami Heat, I think this is an interesting question when you talk about, is Bam Adebayo going to step up? And my answer is actually a question is, does he have to step up? I mean, and that's a funny thing to say because with the additions with Nikola Jovic, it seems like he doesn't have to try and play that role that, you know what I'm saying, that, how can I say it? He doesn't have to try and play that role that people expect him to play. Now, what Bam it needs to do is just be a free player, as in just play his own game. And I think with the floor spacing that we have with the continuity and the chemistry and that hybrid approach with Caleb Martin, that's going to be able to help Bam, start at the elbow or at the top of the key and make his way down depending on whoever is defending him. And I think what happened last year is there was a lot of inconsistencies when it came for his offensive setup to a point where it kind of made him a little bit, I wouldn't say one-dimensional, but a little bit more obvious because of the lack of a supporting cast that we had last year. I think everybody is a little bit more hungry. Like everybody has their personal story on the Heat. I mean, if you look at Caleb Martin, he wasn't even the twin that was starting on the Charlotte Hornets. So he comes down here and he does what he does, and you can see how he played last year, with PJ being out, with us having a lack of just a sense of a 4. He's actually been our 4 in disguise. Even in the Boston series, I think he did an amazing job when he did come in with the minutes that he did do, and I think we took that for granted and we didn't take advantage of that. And I think that was one of my biggest issues with Eric Spoelstra last year. Coming out of the playoffs is that we didn't play more of Caleb Martin. We didn't play more of the guys that got us to the playoffs, which is our G League guys, our 10-day contract guys. So, I guess it comes with time, for him to come out and show out, especially, how business goes. But with the addition with Nikola Jovic, that doesn't mean we need to get a starting veteran power forward who's solidified in the league. No, that means we need to be able to know what we're doing and execute on both starting and on the bench. And even if the Caleb Martin, doesn't work out, we're still going to have Nikola Jovic to come in at the 4. even if he is a rookie, I still feel like he's a little bit experienced to get some type of minutes. Jimmy Butler already talked about him playing with the starters, and he looks good. It feels good, and his IQ is there for them to run the defense. So what I think Eric Spoelstra is going to do is work with everybody's strengths. And because everybody has a lot of good strengths on this team this year, it's going to cover up a lot of our weaknesses. And I'm trying to think about what our weaknesses might be besides maybe the 5 depth spot and the 4 spot and stuff like that. But again, I think what we're doing, like you said, Chris, when the league is zigging, we're zagging. So everybody always questions us like, oh, we don't have it on paper, we don't have it on that, but we always find a way. So that's why I'm not worried about what's coming into the season. I'm really cool with Caleb Martin at the 4 spot. Everybody likes to have the butt of the joke of, oh, you got Kyle Lowry. Well, Kyle Lowry won a ring in Toronto. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that much years far off that he did that. And even if he is regressing, Chris, like, we still have about 4 other guards to come in and help us that could go ahead and get a lot of playing time on another team. Talking about the Victor Oladipos and the Gabe Vincents, you know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of good different ways to switch up the, I guess you could say, format for the Heat. We're a very versatile group. We have added length and got rid of our shortness in PJ Tucker because having a 6'5" power forward is a little bit tough, especially when you have an undersized center. So
you can't say having a 6'5" power forward is tough when you put in a smaller dude at power forward.
Caleb Martin's like 6'6".
Bro, don't believe that.
Chris, every time we have these discussions, bro, we always have an issue with the sizes of these players, bro. We're always like 2 inches off, and I'm always trying to figure out what it is. Well, I'll say this.
Because some teams report height with shoes on, some teams report height with shoes off. Caleb Martin's 6'5", man.
Well, Caleb Martin plays 6'5".
6'5" playing the power forward is nasty.
But that's what PJ Tucker did. And I'll tell you this, I like Caleb Martin's hops and defense quite about the same as PJ Tucker. And I'm saying that with a question mark just because of, again, PJ Tucker's more experienced. He has his ring, this and that. But it's
the biggest thing is rebounding. PJ Tucker was just thicker, so he just was able to box out more.
Okay.
That's going to be Caleb Martin's part. I want to get Scott in here, JF, and I'll get back to you right after Young Heavy. Scott, you available? Everybody remember, it just takes a couple seconds for Scott to catch up on the captions. We are all about inclusion, and as we wait for Scott...
Well, I think,
you're
talking about P.J. Tucker going to the Sixers. I think he's a great addition for the Sixers in terms of leadership. They've got some young guns over there like Maxey and so forth. But for him to leave the Heat, I think he's on his decline. And we were talking about Caleb Martin. He's a sheer 6'5" forward. But he creates mismatch, but he feels the bill for the type of play we're going to have to win with. We're going to have to move the ball. We're going to have to play a faster pace. This is the Golden State Warriors type of offense, and you saw the success that they had. Sure, we don't have the type of shooting Golden State has, but we have the ball movement, and we do have those shooters that are ignitable and Cruz, and maybe even Duncan Robinson plays a role this year. But to say that Tyler Herro and Bam cannot make that leap, I think that's where the bet is. I think you're going to see the leap in both of them. And I think Jimmy Butler has spent more time with Tyler Herro trying to create a better relationship, showing faith in his game so he doesn't lose that confidence come playoff time. And you've got to have that. So I think the fit is what we have with the Heat. You were talking about Charlotte Hornets earlier. You've got a bunch of players with a different set of goals. Each one of them kind of having issues. Well, the Miami Heat are a little bit different in the way they build teams. It's not all about talent. It's all about the fitting into that certain culture. And I know it's a redundant word, but the Heat really do have a culture built from the top, and they select those players based on their ideals. So when we're looking at the Heat, yeah, there's going to be some weaknesses, especially at the 4, but you still have that deadline, and you're still recreating some value. I think Duncan Robinson's value is going to go up, and that will add us the ability to maybe make a move before the playoffs around the February deadline. So there's an absolutely entire open versatility for the Heat to play during the season and still acquire for the playoffs.
Love it, Scott. I agree. I think Pat Riley is probably greenlit several different trade scenarios if if they're in contention come playoff trade deadline time. If they lose a couple of players due to injury, we understand that changes everything. But Pat Riley is not one to sit on the sideline if he sees a move available to make. We'll go to Young Heavy. He had something he wanted to add in here. We'll let JF respond to Young Heavy. We'll go to Benny. We'll go to Bonkai. Thank you, everybody who's come in down below. If you could do us the favor, if you look up top, there's a show card. If you can like and retweet that. Also, if you haven't signed up yet, newsletter dropped yesterday. All you need to do is throw in an email address. It'll get right to your email inbox. If you read it, awesome. What you're going to get is a recap, the best players from the night, and then links throughout so you can get to the stories that you need without having to worry about narratives and going through paywalls and certain things. Do me a favor, like and retweet that as well. Sign up for it. Shout out down below to TJ Kiesel. Had a dope episode Friday of the Kickback. If you are in the shoes, if you're a sneakerhead, a 100 follow. If you don't follow her, you're going to miss out on inside information on how to get shoes via some of these apps in a more, or I should say, less stressful way. Make sure you shoot her a follow and check in the Kickback with TJ Kiesel. All right, Young Heavy, go ahead, and then we'll have JFK come after you. We got Benny down below, then Bonkai. Thank you, everybody. Good morning.
Yeah, now with the Miami Heat, now don't get me wrong, Miami Heat, they're a great team. They're a great team. They're going to, of course, compete in the Eastern Conference. But my thing with the Miami Heat, I see is I feel like Miami Heat, they really need another scorer. I feel like for the Miami Heat to get over the hump and get back to the finals and even win one, they need somebody else that can score in the half court, especially when it comes playoff time outside of Jimmy Butler. I know y'all looking for Tyler Hero to be that guy. I don't know if he's that guy. I don't know. And I feel like Bam can't be the second player on the team that they go to with the ball in his hands. I feel like that's what hurt the Heat last year. I feel like the Heat had a second scorer outside of Jimmy Butler, they would have beat the Celtics last year. That's all I wanted to say.
All right. JF, your thoughts?
Yeah, so with the 24th pick of the NBA draft, the Miami Heat select Nikola Jovic. That's going to be our third scorer if it needs to come down to that. To be honest with you, a 6'11" scorer who can basically shoot from range and not that much people are going to be able to guard that or contest that. That's going to be a very, very good look for us, especially if he's going to be more consistent than PJ Tucker. I mean, if you really look at realistically, PJ Tucker was supposed to be our third scorer, and he was averaging 5 to 7 points on Draymond Green average in the playoffs. So that's something that I'll definitely take over as some young guy that's willing to get out there and go and show what he has to do. I mean, he's already proved himself, especially in that Slovenia league. That league is very, very tough, and a lot of the players that transition over to the NBA, their game translates very well as well. So you can just look at the Luka Doncic,
Third scorer?
Saric, but Goran, all of them translate really, really well over. So I'm very happy with that pickup. Moving forward with that, I think Tyler Hero, it's not about the money for Tyler Hero. I think he knew he deserved the money wherever he went, and he was going to get that money. I think his main thing was to stay in Miami. If you look at the dynamics of Tyler Hero and the character he is and the personality that he has, he's made and fit for Miami. And I think he's going to come out and do whatever he has to do to stay in Miami, because he also has another child on the way, and I think he's trying to solidify himself down here. Just saying with the last couple pieces, I think Victor Oladipo betting on himself for that vet minimum, and I think he's really going to try and prove himself. He really did take the time to make sure he's 100%. He's 100% healthy now. I think I didn't even talk about Duncan Robinson as much, but the thing about Duncan Robinson that we've seen in the offseason is that he's become more of a versatile scorer. He's starting to do running floaters and stuff like that, making himself more available than just a 3-point shooter. So as long as he can at least have two aspects of shooting in the game, I'm not talking about all three levels of scoring, but at least two of the three, then I'm pretty good with that. And then he has been working. It looks like him and Max Strus has been working all summer long on their game. So I really love that. Then too, I've been working, and Max Strus is, again, the Heat have a small roster, but they play bigger than what they actually are. If you look at all our players, for some reason they're able to rise above the rim. Jimmy Butler is probably only normal size player that we have at his position. You know what I'm saying? But for what it's worth, I really like how this team is constructed. Like again, I see that what Pat Riley's trying to do, bring in the youth, make sure he has a core set up for the next couple of years, and he already has his 3, or you can even say 4 if you want to count Gabe Vincent, because I thought he was going to leave the same time Precious Achua left, because both their stocks raised in that Nigerian game against United States when they both dropped 30 and 20 or 25 or something like that. So I'm just looking forward to this season. I do see us finishing in at least the top 4 this year.
I do need to make a correction. Victor Oladipo is not on a vet minimum. He signed a 2-year, 1-1 at a 8.75. Next year would be almost 9.5, but it's a player option. If he has a good year, he's expected to opt out. Just got to, yeah. It's all good, man. That's why we here, you know. Benny, you're up next, followed by Bankai. The NBA's whisperer, Sir Denny Blanco, has joined us. Swiper is down below. Evan Townsend of Project Spurs. Shout out to Janelle Moore of the Mercury News. If you need to follow the Dubs this year, and if you are into Bay Area sports, make sure you hit up Janelle. Phenomenal writer and knower of all things sports and culture. And like, she doesn't get a lot of the plaudits and applause that she should. Being a Black woman in sports journalism is not easy, and she does it very well. Make sure you shoot her a follow and check her out this season at the Mercury News. Saint from Nets Kingdom, I don't know if this is his primary account or his backup account now. It's getting really crazy over in Nets Twitter. I think what it is he's worried that what's going to come out is he might be an actual Sacramento Kings fan as well. Brandon might have been right this entire time. Who knows? We'll find out. We do have some of our own creators, and I'm going to take one extra minute here to shout out my friend Nat. She's going to be hosting the new show, or the return of the new show, Benchwarmers, tonight at 8 p.m. You are going to love this show. If you like First Take and Undisputed, this is a show for you. You're going to come in here and you're going to hear why Damian Lillard is better than Steph Curry. And then you're going to have to get up there, and that person's going to have to defend the fact that they said Damian Lillard is better than Steph Curry. And then if they lose, y'all get to kick them down to the bench and make fun of them. There you go. It's real simple, easy stuff. Benny, go ahead. Your thoughts, and then we'll go to Bankai. Thank you, everybody. Good morning.
So about the Heat, I just think as a Mavs fan, I realized how important shot creation is in the playoffs, as just like having as many shot creators as you can on the floor. And what I see on the Heat is a lot of play finishers, and like a lot of guys you're talking about, like people who are make open shots, attack closeouts, attack mismatches. But the more of those people you have on the floor that need people to set them up, I think it becomes harder to get half-court offense off in the playoffs. And the Heat will always be a good transition team, but things definitely do slow down. And I just don't – I mean, again, I think Victor Oladipo – I totally forgot about him, by the way. That's my fault. But I think if Victor Oladipo has a good year, the Heat have a totally different ceiling. But – yeah, that's all I wanted to say. And outside of that, also, I just wanted to say that I was a huge fan of Jovic coming out of the draft because Mavs had 26 and he was like in our range. And I do think his game will translate, but I still do think he's a play finisher for now, at least.
Yeah, I love Jovic. I'm high on Jovic. He's still a year away. Like, he's going to hit some shots. They're going to look really good, but he's going to have to understand how the game is called over here. He's going to have to learn how to play a little bit more physically long term. Bankai, hop in here, and then we're going to say what's up to the NBA's whisperer, Sir Denny Blanco, after JF replies. Bankai, go ahead.
Yeah, nothing Heat related, but I got a question for you, Chris. Well, what team or teams do you think is going to come out to the fake hot start and then fall off a bit later off in the season? Like, who do you think?
I think the Washington Wizards can do it for 2 years in a row. Look, he's healthy. Kristaps Porzingis is, quote, healthy, and he's opening the season, quote, healthy. Bradley Beal is, quote, healthy. So if they actually play to form, you'd be getting 40 points, 16 boards, 7 assists, 2 blocks, and a steal, and that's a good base to try to get your supporting players up to double digits. And if you do that, and you get 6 players to double digits, you're averaging 110 a game. Is it possible? Absolutely, because it's the beginning of the season. They don't play as many playoff games and scrimmages the way they used to. Dallas only played 3 this year. And so you can blitz the league and easily pull off 7 out of 11 wins and then start trending to 500 and then 30 games in fall off, which is kind of what the Wizards did. And I could see them doing that again. Another team that might do that as well is the Houston Rockets. I'm very high on the young talent there. They are going to score in bunches. The problem is they are going to allow other teams to score in bunches. So if they can outscore and outlast, then they could actually shock some people with a fast and hot start as well. I don't think they're built for the long term. Their bench isn't quite where it needs to be. And although they re-signed Kevin Porter Jr., I'm not quite sure he's the point guard that you want next to Jabari Smith and Jalen Green. And what might end up happening is they move to a 3-guard lineup and put him at the 3 with Jalen at the 2, and they pick up either another guard, with CJ McCollum would have been perfect, or they bring up Ty Washington, rookie out of Kentucky. There you go. One for the East, one for the West.
Thank you.
And the Knicks too. Like, I don't know why people think the Knicks are bad. Like, they did phenomenal this offseason. And like they too can get off to a hot start, but a lot of that will be dependent upon Emmanuel Quickley's ability to not shoot 39% from the floor. Like, he's going to have to be the offense off the bench, and he's got to be way better than he's been the last 2 years. All right, JF, go ahead and reply. Let's close the heat out with JF and then Scott. We'll move to Sir Denny Blanco, who he might have something about the Heat, but we'll also bring in some of the other teams across the league. Thank you, everybody. Good morning.
Yeah, Chris, I think just going off of what Benny said, or I think it was Bankai about the Heat and spacing, I think you're going to see a difference this year just because, like I said, there's certain weaknesses to our players' game, which over the offseason they have worked on. So I'm really excited to see that. But, Chris, this is a question for you. This is a 4-team. I got 2 pretenders or contenders, so I want to see the discussion between these 2, or I guess you could say these 4 teams. So, pretender, contender, Atlanta Hawks or New York Knicks, and then pretender or contender, the Milwaukee Bucks and Boston Celtics. Appreciate it, Chris.
Yeah, I tell you, like, contender, I don't put the Knicks as a contender. I think they're probably gonna scare people in close matchups if Coach Tibbs can get the defense going. But for them to be a contender, I would think that RJ Barrett would have to be a 23-5-5 guy like Chris Middleton. Julius Randle would have to be an 18-8 guy. Obi Toppin off the bench would have to be a 10-6 guy. Mitchell Robinson would have to be a 10-12 with 2 blocks. And Evan Fournier would have to be somewhere around 17, 18 points per game. And like maybe, but nobody really, I think, sees that happening. And so that kind of takes them out. Milwaukee and Boston are contenders. Milwaukee, though, and I asked this question last week, is Milwaukee's window closing? And I think it is. And I asked that because I had heard that Chris Middleton was not going to be ready for the start of the season before it came out. And if Chris Middleton is not healthy, the Bucks have 0 shot. Like, that's how important he is to Giannis in completing that triune with Jrue Holiday. If he's not healthy, you saw it last year in the playoffs. Like, you just load up, stop Jrue Holiday and the shooters, and you say, "Go ahead, Giannis, beat us. Go ahead and take 30 shots a game for 7 games. Like, you're gonna be gassed, and we'll beat you." And that's what happened. Atlanta is a puncher's chance. If DeAndre Hunter is healthy and Clint Capella is healthy, then they have a very formidable 5-man lineup. Trae Young, DeJounte Murray is going to be a top 5 backcourt in the league, but that's it. Like Clint Capella is going to have to be healthy, and he hasn't been healthy. He's been trending down. And if he continues to trend down and isn't healthy, is Onyeka Okongwu going to be good enough to supplant him? John Collins has been trending down ever since Trae Young has opened up the offense to the rest of his teammates. Can he return to 20-10 or 18-8 instead of 16-7? But that bench, you're looking at Aaron Holiday as your primary point guard backup. Jalen Johnson, who was a rookie last year that didn't get any run, is going to see significant time. It's not a deep bench. They went from being deep to now having to rely on the health of Bogdan Bogdanovic. And if Bogdan Bogdanovic isn't healthy, they're going to have to really outscore on the starting unit, and I just don't see that happening. So there you go. How do you like that?
Look,
That was a good analysis. Appreciate it, Chris.
Yep.
now, Chris,
What's up, Big Heavy?
how do you feel about Cleveland? I looking at Cleveland got a chance to be a top 5 team in the East. Like looking at some of the preseason games that I've seen from them this year. So, what's your take on Cleveland?
All right, well, let's hear your take first on Cleveland. I like them, but I think my take is a little bit different from most. So let me hear yours. I'll tell you mine, and then I get to introduce Nat as we head to the beginning of the second hour on NBA opening night. We'll talk a little bit bench warmers real quick. So let me hear your thoughts, because you said top 5 seed. Why are they a top 5 seed in your mind, Young Heavy?
Well, I feel like the backcourt of Mitchell and Garland is definitely going to be a nice duo that you have to deal with offensively. And also their rim protection is really good. We're having Mobley and Allen down there. I feel like a lot of people were saying that, defensively they might take off a bit, but I don't know. If you got 2 rim protectors, that makes it harder for you to still score on them. And then they got 2 guards that could give you 30 at any moment. I feel like if they could pair it together, I feel like Cleveland definitely has a chance to be a top 5 seed in the East.
Yeah, the Cleveland shocked the world. Everybody thought Donovan Mitchell was on his way to New York, and the Cleveland Cavaliers sent Colin Sexton, Lauri Markkanen, Ochai Agbaji, and some draft picks and swaps to get Donovan Mitchell. My problem is that Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell are redundant, and Darius Garland is the better point guard. So Darius Garland is going to have the ball in his hand, and that means Donovan Mitchell is going to have to revert or learn again how to play more off ball, because his entire pro career, except for 1 year, he was the dominant ball handler for Utah. Also, that trade kind of took away Cleveland's magical 3-man big lineup. So they're either going to have to put Isaac Okoro, who just hasn't developed a pro offensive game yet, or Karis LeVert, who doesn't necessarily fit next to backcourt of Darius and Donovan at small forward. Then you have Raul Neto, who's the backup point guard. He's out of Washington last year. He's there because Ricky Rubio's injured. So, Kevin Love, another year older. I think he'll still be locked in as the primary big off the bench. But then after that, you're looking at Dean Wade, Robin Lopez, or J.D. Osman, right? So that's not a sexy, hey, let me go and throw 3 6'11" dudes out there, and then I can swap one of them with Kevin Love, and I can either have 2 bigs who are taking the bigs out to spread the court to allow Darius Garland and Colin Sexton to attack, or I can put in, insert defensive player like Isaac Okoro or J.D. Osman, and we can really clamp down and let Evan Mobley and Jared Allen run the defense. Personally, if Cleveland is going to actually contend, it's really going to be dependent upon Evan Mobley, and it's going to be dependent upon him having the ball in offense. He's going to have to learn how to be more Domantas Sabonis-esque. He needs to learn how to do some pocket passing, and he also needs to learn to do what Scotty Barnes has been able to do in Toronto, which is really wall off a half side of the wall, put his head down and drive. Because if he can't get that, then you're not going to have the spacing required to really take advantage of Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. Will they be competitive? Yep. I have them fighting for a 5th and 6th seed. I don't think they get 5, though. I just don't.
Appreciate you, Chris.
Absolutely. All right. We're 5 minutes away from the second hour on opening night. The NBA on TNT doubleheader featuring the Boston Celtics and my Philadelphia 76ers. The Boston Celtics are also Nats favorite team. So what we're going to do is talk some Sixers and Celtics after we go ahead and talk about some bench warmers, which is going to be tonight at 8 p.m. This was a show that we made on Clubhouse. We tried to bring it over. We've had a couple of times, and really it's just me. I don't have the time necessarily like I used to during the pandemic to do all of the shows, but I'm telling you now, Nat is the person for the show because she has the ability to actually articulate and debate finer points of basketball. And on top of that, she's going to crack some jokes when you lose, and it's going to be hilarious. Nat, year 2 for us here on Hoop Spaces. Thank you for coming over here at the very beginning, from Clubhouse. We wouldn't be what we are without the likes of you and without the likes of Malika Walker. But tonight we will be enemies because your Boston Celtics, who went to the finals and lost, are now playing my Sixers, who are primed and ready. What say you? Good morning.
Primed and ready for what?
Doc Rivers is a great coach. That's what we primed and ready for. There you go.
Well, this is the thing, Chris. I actually think that Doc Rivers is a good coach. So I'm not gonna rag on Doc Rivers. So I'm not gonna do that with you. But I think that, I think you got a good squad, definitely better than last year. I'm not gonna go crazy over what's his name, Harrell. On the bench. What's
Montrezl Harrell. Yeah, Trez. Yeah. Just call him Trez.
Trez. I'm not gonna go crazy over Trez, but he does give you, some options off the bench and some energy and stuff like that. The biggest thing for you guys is the next step for Maxey, which I am a huge fan of Tyrese Maxey. And you got my guy James Harden over there, who I am really, really hoping gets back to form, not Houston form. He doesn't need that, but more when he kind of arrived in Brooklyn, guy that can give you maybe 22, 23 points and like 10 and 8. Like he's more than capable of doing that if his body is healthy, so that's what I'm looking at. And I think you guys are poised to have a great season. You're not going to beat us, but you're going to beat somebody.
How are you gonna say that? Like you can't say a great season and then we ain't gonna beat you. So
I got you, Chris.
So Grant Williams did not sign his extension. We know about Coach Udoka. We know about the interim coach and the word out of Boston that they were originally looking at Frank Vogel possibly coming in. But this can be something that actually brings a team together, right?
Mm-hmm.
Robert Williams is out. You're going to have to rely on old man Al. I mean, I love Al, but man, what can Jason Tatum do, in all honesty, to ensure the Boston Celtics repeat and get to the Eastern Conference Finals to give you a chance to win a championship?
So, number one, with Tatum, he had a great season last year. But what I'm looking for from him is he tends to take about 6 to 8 threes a game. His form is not going to allow him to shoot super efficient from the three. It's just not going to happen. I really hope that he takes 2 or 3 less threes a game and he goes inside and he gets a floater, finishes through contact, and that elbow jumper. That's what I'm looking for with Jason Tatum. Cut the threes out so much. I think if he cuts it in half almost with how many threes he takes a game, then you got a guy that becomes a little bit more efficient because the shots get a little easier and definitely shots that he can absolutely make. That's what I'm looking for with Jason Tatum. He's getting better at playmaking. His defense has now come along. I didn't think he was actually going to be a good defender upon entering the NBA. Now I see he's taking it serious and he's taking that leap. I'm good with that. Continue to be smart with your playmaking. Make sure you're good. You're doing better passing out of the double team and, making sure that, we cut down on those damn threes and, just take better shots. So I think if Jason Tatum does that, I think it can actually increase his ability to probably score about maybe bump it up to 29 points. He's always going to be an elite rebounder. He's going to get you 8 to 9, and then I think he can bump the assists up to 5 or 6, 6 actually. So that's what I'm looking for with Jason Tatum.
I love it. Last question real quick as I get some hands up here with more people. Has Jaylen Brown learned not to dribble the ball off his foot?
I'm going to say I'm going to watch. I'm gonna watch. I see him trying to do a lot in the preseason. Like, see, guys, I can dribble, and he's doing some things. He's always going to be an efficient scorer. I'm just looking for him to get better with his playmaking. And get some moves where it's not always I'm either going to dunk it or I'm going to shoot this three or whatever. Like, he's got to get some moves, and it requires getting other people involved too, because sometimes you doing the herky jerky shit is not for you. It's so you can get the eyes on you to give it to somebody else. That's what I'm looking for him to make that leap at. So
All right.
we'll see.
I absolutely love it. Everybody get ready. If you have a Celtics question, she's ready to give you those answers. Justin Patton up here is also a Celtics fan. Real good work by one Brad Stevens as a general manager. Super deep lineup. Marcus Smart, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Al Horford. We understand that would be Robert Williams, and Al Horford would be off the bench. Malcolm Brogdon, Grant Williams, Peyton Pritchard, your three wings and guards off the bench, followed by a temporary stay of Blake Griffin. And that's right, ladies and gentlemen, Luke Kornet.
No.
We got another season of Luke Kornet basketball. That is right. We'll go to Papa first. Papa, thank you for following. Welcome to Hoop Spaces. Thank you for finding us. You meet the Bibbs Corner segment. First time, long time. Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. What's up, Nash? Former Celtics. I'm another Celtics.
What's up?
But like I said, I do agree. I have to piggyback on that. Jaylen Brown does dribble a lot, which caused a lot of turnovers during the finals of last year. I think he could have just chilled out, did 2 or 3 dribbles, pass the ball, move off with the ball. Same thing with the JT thing. He did too many threes. He has the body to drive. So from what I saw this preseason, they were driving to the basket. Last year they didn't do that. They just did spot up threes, take threes, and see if hopefully he makes it in. So I'm looking forward to see what they're gonna do. The Kornet, that white boy got to go. He's not it. Even though Robert Williams is out for 8 to 12 weeks. With the pickup from Blake Griffin, I think it's a wonderful pickup. The big man who can stretch the floor. He's not where he used to be for the Clippers. So I see a lot of improvement. I'm excited. And to see what's going on, man. Philly, they're gonna have a good season. Doc Rivers, is a hell of a coach. So, that's about it. I'm gonna keep it that way.
All right, appreciate it, Papa. Make sure you tap in. We're gonna try again sometime this year to get our Celtics room up and running. It's just a shame. Celtics Twitter is weird.
Wait,
how is it weird?
Chris.
What?
Hold up. I am actually going to bring that back. It's not. Celtics Twitter is coming back. So within the next week, actually, I'm just trying to get the co-hosts and everything together. But we are coming back.
All right, good.
Yeah, so don't worry about it.
Don't worry, Papa. Like, when I mean weird, I don't mean anything bad. It was like they showed up one show and then they disappeared because Boston was kind of up and down during the regular season. And then the playoffs came and they was everywhere. It's like Smurfs that came out the woods and they was just there.
No,
you were like, what?
Chris, they came out in February when they went on that damn run. And then I had another show. I had other things to do. And then here's Celtics Twitter comes.
Yeah. All right, keep up, Big Papa, because we're going to be doing big things with the Celtics.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to say one more thing and I'm done.
Yeah.
The Celtics organization dropped the ball on the HR problem. That's all I'm going to say. Wojnarowski never said anything about it. They knew about it in July. They should have did something. They docked his pay. He's still getting paid by the Celtics for half the salary. He's just chilling. So they're basically keeping him hostage. He may did a hell of a thing as a coach. But, it is what it is. It's an HR problem more than a national problem. So that's it. I'm done.
Yeah, we agree with you. We are here in unison. All right, we're going to go to Justin Patton, JP, the franchise, about to get into some negotiations with me to bring his YouTube content here to Hoop Spaces and maybe be the lead for our YouTube arm here. As we expand, in season 2, we want to make sure that we are bringing you other content from other content creators who are just as passionate about basketball as you. And Justin is one of them. He, too, is unfortunately a Celtics fan. And I say that because tonight you played the Philadelphia 76ers and Joel Embiid. Good morning, Justin. How you doing?
Good morning, Chris. How's everybody doing today?
We're doing good, man. We're doing good.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, unfortunately, we're going to be enemies tonight. I love you, Chris, but we're going to be enemies tonight with the Celtics and 76ers. I ain't going to say a lot because Nat said it, what I was thinking, and also Papa too as well. I'm concerned about health because, we got the news of Time Lord possibly returning the second half of the season. So we're going to depend on Horford and Vonleh and Griffin too as well to fill out the spaces. Probably we might see Jason Tatum in the power forward position. The health wise, Matt Barron, how healthy can he be this season? Along with Jaylen Brown. So I'm just concerned about health for the Celtics, but I feel like there's gonna be a lot of pressure on the first year head coach just because we went to the finals last year and what expectations he has to lead that team this season. Tatum, I agree with Nat, needed to take less threes and drive a lot more. He always be taking like the toughest shots. I don't know why he'd be taking the toughest shot. He needed to take easier shots and everything. Jaylen Brown, I'm sure if he can stay consistent and stop dribbling too many times and turn over the ball. That's the thing with the Celtics, is always like a lot of turnovers and everything. But good ball movement I've seen in the regular season. I like the additions that we have. I'm very excited to see, Sam Hauser, another three-point shooter. He had a really good preseason, and see how he can, contribute to the team in the regular season. I just have just interesting questions, with the Celtics, and see if Jason Tatum can make that leap into the MVP discussion. If he can, he balled out in the second half of the season, not so much in the first season, able to facilitate. If he's able to stay consistent from the beginning to the end of the season and get into the MVP consideration to take the Celtics on and lead them to the Eastern Conference Finals and to the finals, I would love to see that. But I think we're going to have a really good season. I know some people might have us at 5th or 6th, like I've been hearing, but I think we could still be like a top 4 seed if everybody could stay healthy and we're able to move the ball around and play really good defense too as well.
Man, that is exactly why you should tap in with JP, the franchise, where he gives his post-game reaction videos on YouTube, hoping that we can work out a deal to make him one of our YouTube content creators here on Hoop Spaces. Appreciate you, Justin.
Hey, thank you.
All right, now I got to tease something. I have to also do a read. I'm going to tease something first. Shout out to Pants Anderson, ladies and gentlemen, down in the crowd. Last season, in season 1 of Hoop Spaces, the man literally single-handedly convinced almost half of NBA Twitter that I was a plant from the Sacramento Kings, from the front office, specifically the GM position. I am not, nor have I ever been. However, I am teasing a King space coming to Hoop Spaces. That is right, ladies and gentlemen, the Sacramento Kings. We have a content creating team coming to Hoop Spaces to give you the Keegan Murray and Domantas Sabonis news and talk you didn't know you needed. Shout out Saint from Nets Kingdom, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to move next to Jose. Get some Mavs talk in here. We'll bring Young Heavy back in here, and then I'm going to check in with my friend Scott, a.k.a. Nothing But Heat. Good morning.
Good morning, man. So, Chris, with that King space, I think you're going to be hosting, but you're just going to use the voice changing feature on Spaces. Is that correct?
That is not correct. I am not going to be hosting this King space. Shout out to Saint from Nets Kingdom.
It's okay, Chris. I mean, we all know that you work for the Sacramento Kings. You drafted Keegan Murray. You said F Jaden Ivey. If he didn't want to be in Sacramento, I'm gonna just go with my best pick in Keegan Murray. So that's fine. It's cool. All right. So with the Dallas Mavericks, you had asked what would you like to see from your team this year, and my my thing with my Mavs is I need to see this defense sustain from last year to this year. If they fall out of the top 10 in defensive ranking, maybe our worst case scenario is that we become a play-in team, and I need our defense to just be consistent. People say preseason doesn't matter, but the Mavericks gave up 69 points in the paint. And with JaVale McGee and Christian Wood coming over to beef up our rebounding and our defensive presence in the paint, I need to see a statement from the Mavs against the Phoenix Suns tomorrow night as we get ready for that matchup against DeAndre Ayton, who is a very capable big in the paint. So I need to see the defense sustain. I also need to see Jason Kidd get rid of some of the burden that he had as a previous head coach for the Milwaukee Bucks and the Brooklyn Nets as well. His second years aren't usually the best in terms of coaching. So I want to see Jason Kidd be able to transition over into the next year having a good follow up. I think the Mavs are a Western Conference Finals team. I don't know. Anything is possible, but right now I still have them projected to be the second round playoff team, and that's about it. That's as far as they go. I need to see a little bit more roster movement, and I also need to see some Josh Green improvement before I give this Mavs team a little bit more of a ceiling than I already do. Anything you want to ask me, Chris, before I get off stage? Because I am on lunch right now.
Absolutely. I actually do have a question. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have a question, he's on lunch. You might not be able to get it. Make sure you follow Jose, one of the trio of hosts for 77 Spaces with Rolo and Jazz, the best damn Mavs content on Twitter. Jaden, right? Jaden Hardy is going to be a shooter. We understand this. He might not necessarily be ready, right? My question, Spencer Dinwiddie is going to be the first guard off the bench, 1 and 2. Josh Green is not really a guard, he's a 3. Are you going to be able to trust Frank or Theo as your main guard off the bench before Campazzo gets up to speed? If anything, that seems to be the Achilles heel of the Dallas Mavericks. They don't have anybody who can take some time off of Luka, and I don't want to see Luka worn down. Your thoughts on that?
Oh, look. People said Theo getting a guaranteed spot on the roster, this doesn't matter. And this is my quarrel when people say positions 1 through 15 on a roster don't matter. When you're called to play in an NBA game, it absolutely matters. It doesn't matter how long they play. It's the fact that you're going to see the court if you're 1 through 15. Now, it could be garbage time, or in this situation that you just premised, is that do we have enough time to get Frank Campazzo Facu Campazzo up to speed in our offensive and defensive schemes? And then you have to rely on a guy like Theo. I think Theo is an absolute cheerleader. I don't really see much from his previous games when he came in to play during the COVID stretch, and I didn't see enough during preseason to say, hey, I want Theo to play. So, given that, I'd rather have Josh Green try to alleviate those minutes and just get through with that, and also giving Jaden Hardy an opportunity to showcase himself. I mean, I've always been strong on Jaden Hardy getting some minutes so we could develop him because, again, he's on a 3-year contract. We have his bird rights, but I do not want to be in the same situation that we are with Josh Green in terms of not being able to see him play. And then by the time that we need him to play, he doesn't really show much. But I think with Jaden Hardy, we just can't have that. So to answer your question, I just want to ride it out with Jaden Hardy and Josh Green. Oh, Chris must be on the Sacramento Kings Twitter right now, and
Oh,
he's
see,
gonna
look at you. I get two messages, and it's back to the Kings. Once again, the tease is, ladies and gentlemen, we now have a Sacramento Kings space planned for you. Thanks to, and not because of, Saint from Nets Kingdom. I'm just giving him random thanks as people think he's a closet Kings fan. We're going to get JFK back up, but I want to make sure that we are inclusive, and that is what we started out to be: inclusive, equitable. And here we have my friend Scott, aka Nothing But Heat. I want him to be able to tell you about the Inclusion brand bourbon that he's cooked up, giving you the best of Kentucky straight bourbon. Scott, whenever you're ready and you're with us, go ahead and talk about your passion outside of basketball. Well, shoot. Maybe he looked away and didn't see the cue. All right, we'll wait for him to come back so he can get his read in here. We'll go next to Casey and Co-Pilots. The Co-Pilots podcast will get JFK back up. Bonkai's ready to go. And then we're going to also talk with my friend Tony Schwartz, NBA. That's the handle, ladies and gentlemen. And I tell you what, the man is phenomenal. Look, we actually share something in common in terms of like past trauma. It takes a lot to work through that. And that is what I'm trying to praise here. It takes a will to be able to wake up every day and make yourself 1% better. And that's what he's done. And that's why I call him my friend. And that's why I want to make sure that we give him some extra time so you can hear, his perspective from somebody who's had time taken away from him. So he's had a lot of time to think. Very, very, very poignant, man. All right, Casey, you're up. Then we'll go to Co-Pilot, and then we'll head up to Bankai. Clear the hands out, and we'll talk to Tony for a minute. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. It's a beautiful day. NBA basketball is back, man. I'm so excited. Some good games on tonight. Hey, when it comes to the Mavs, I just wanted to say good luck with Christian Wood, man. I hope he works out for y'all. That's all I'm gonna say. I mean, what he did over here in Houston, bro. Like I don't really know what to say about him, to be honest. I'm just super excited for the Rockets, man. This game against the Hawks is gonna be, it's gonna be fun. I think we can beat the Hawks, to be honest. I think we could beat a lot of these good teams early, just because of the way that we're gonna play. We're gonna play fast. Having Jabari Smith, he's gonna be a tough matchup for anybody. Lockdown defender. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. The Rockets don't play today; they play tomorrow. So I just kind of wanted to say, like, man, I hope Christian Wood works out for the Mavs, bro, because.
Well, also we do have to bid adieu, right? The Houston Astros. We'll get you a quick word on your Houston Astros.
We can talk about it.
Oh, just get a quick word, because I know you're getting ready for the chance of a lifetime.
So if you look at my Twitter, like if you scroll through the past like 12 hours, you would see like. I mean, honestly, like, to be honest, like, this team is just like they're the best team in the major leagues. If you look at the roster it's conducted, you look at the pitching, you look at everything that they've done all season, the games that they've won. They spanked the Mariners. As they were talking all that trash, saying they were going to win. They waited 21 years just to see their team at their funeral in their own stadium. So I mean, this team is going to win the World Series. It's not really, the MLB completely fumbled this whole playoff structure anyway. I don't know if anyone follows baseball. There was a lockout at the beginning of the season. So all of the games got pushed back. So now the team that has to go and play the Astros, they literally have to hop on a flight tonight after they play a game. They're going to play like 8 games in a row. It's just tough, man. And because I want to play the best teams at their best. You know what I mean? But it's going to be playoff baseball is amazing, bro. If you haven't tuned in yet, definitely tune into one of these games because it's unbelievable.
Well, just wanted to give you a chance to say good luck. The Houston Astros looking as a prohibitive favorite to win the World Series. And there you go. Our one baseball take of the day. We made it. All right. Thanks to
Appreciate
Casey.
it, Chris. You're awesome, bro. Have a good day.
You too, Casey. Have a great one. Co-Pilot, you're up next. The Co-Pilots podcast, 2 brothers from Florida. Let's get their fresh and unique perspective on the NBA today. Co-Pilots, what's up?
What's going on, everybody? So, just looking forward to the season. I'm a big Orlando Magic fan. So it's very interesting to see how we play this year. I like that got a nice young core, and I just think that what's frustrating for me as a Magic fan is that we get these teams, we build a team, and then we don't want to pay them, and then we always get rid of all our talent, and we always in rebuilding mode. So I'm interested to see how the season turns out, and hopefully we can get some momentum. And with our draft, Cole Anthony, Wendell Carter, these guys, some of the older guys, they can step their games up, and we can actually have a good season. I'm not expecting us to make the playoffs this year, but I just want to be able to compete and be able to go to the games and we ain't getting blowed out, and the season over with. By January, we know we're fighting for a draft spot. So, I'm looking. We don't play tonight. We play the Pistons on tomorrow. So, hopefully that we have a good season this year.
Well, you got a great trio of young bigs. Wendell Carter Jr., Paolo Banchero, and Franz Wagner are going to be a formidable matchup for anybody. Biggest issue, I think, is Markelle Fultz is never healthy, unfortunately. R.J. Hampton hasn't really developed into what a lot of people thought he could be. Jalen Suggs was injured last year. And Cole Anthony, I mean, he's a fire starter, but unfortunately, so is Reggie Jackson. And when they don't hit, they don't hit, and you can get 39% shooting. And unfortunately for the Magic, they cannot survive on that inefficiency. So if Cole Anthony can pop up to, let's say, 43% around league average, and give you 5-6 assists, and Jalen Suggs develops into what we thought he would be, which is a great complementary combo guard of like maybe Malcolm Brogdon without the strength and defense, the Orlando Magic could make some noise. They got Jonathan Isaac coming back from injury. Mo Bamba actually looks like he can play basketball and not get hurt. And they actually are, trying this ball theory out. And it's hilarious. I'm laughing. But like they literally could run a lineup of the smallest person being 6'10".
They should too.
They should.
The Franz WCJ backcourt or front court is plus, man, I want to say plus 35. It's insane. The way that they beat teams off the court with those two guys as their bigs. I have them as the 7th seed in the West, co-pilot, I think, or in the East. You guys are in for a really fun season in Orlando.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, if Paolo Banchero can unlock his Chris Webber with better facilitation, they literally could roll out Paolo Banchero, Wendell Carter Jr., Franz Wagner, Mo Bamba, and Jonathan Isaac with Bobo off the bench.
Yeah, and I would keep Bamba off the court to close. Honestly,
yeah, I would too.
But he's great rotational minutes. They're going to be a tough out for a lot of teams.
They are going to have their hands pretty much everywhere.
But we in that Southeast division, though. You got Miami. You got a lot of teams in there that are playoff teams from last year. So, that's the only thing I worry. The division that we play in. The teams that we have to go up against. If we can't get into the playoffs. I say you got us at the 7th seed.
Well, you got Charlotte and Washington there. Like you got to say you're better than Charlotte and Washington, right? Like you'd have to think that.
For sure.
So then all you have to do is go 500 with Atlanta and Miami.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that Orlando has the advantage of no one expecting anything from them during the regular season. Last year, you guys, first of all, I love your coach. He was a great interview in Vegas last year, and the dude just seems to be trying to win basketball games the right way. They want to play defense first, which is how you're going to win regular season games, and you have enough offensive potential. I still think there's a move there. I don't know how you feel, Chris, but I still think there's one move for Orlando to make, capitalizing on some of those assets that aren't producing, and if they could just get one more offensive engine, I think they're in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue was Jonathan Isaac. The hesitancy for the vaccination, and the injuries. He was trending to be a devastating two-way player. And if he could come back to be that devastating two-way player, then I agree with you, Tony. But I think the trade is there, and I think he's going to be a part of it. And also There's a couple other players that they'd probably add in there for salary purposes. Terrence Ross is a prime trade candidate. He's ready to go. The moment a big goes down in the league, someone's going to kick the tires on Mo Bamba or Mortis Wagner, Franz's brother. So there's definitely a trade on the horizon. I think the question is, when will it be? Are they going to be 14 and 30? Or are they going to be like 22 and 22? Like that's how I view it. Let me get some hands up and clear these hands. We're almost at the bottom half of the second hour. I want to take the time to say thank you for making any part of your day Hoop Spaces. Brought to you by SlamGoods.com. You can head over to SlamGoods.com. Use promo code Hoop Spaces. Save 15% off your entire purchase site-wide. I'll get a tweet up about it later. Up next, my brother Sam Spalding on the ones and twos. We'll hit up Breeze, then Micah, and Bonkai. Good morning, everybody. Sam, you're up.
What's up, brother?
Not much, man. The weather's cold, the heat is on, and I'm starting to like get bloody noses. I hate it.
Hey, man, I completely understand. It's one of those in-between days in the shot. But I'm just looking at I just wish it wasn't so much drama surrounding both of my teams. But I'll just stick with the Bulls just for this conversational purpose. But I'm still lukewarm on exactly who we are and what we are. We haven't completely identified what our identity is when it comes down to our style of play. I don't know who's at fault with the handling or the mishandling of Lonzo's injury or, the lack thereof or whatever that measure of the conversation is. But it's just unfortunate because, we're going into another season where it's like we're not going to see him till December. And, with the injury that he had, he could have been back way before now. I still don't have an understanding of exactly what Patrick Williams is. It looks like Javonte Green is kind of like he's pretty much taking his spot in the rotation, pretty much taking his spot in the ideology of what the team concept is. But I'm still just confused about who we are and where we actually sit, and with the strength of Cleveland getting better and other teams around us getting better. I'm really just throwing up a lot of quote unquote cautionary flags, because I still don't know if Vucevic is going to come out this year and play the way that we need him to play or the way that we want him to play, even though it's a contract year for him. So I just got a lot of questions just surrounding the Bulls, and I don't feel that overly confident in the way that I did because also, DeMar DeRozan had a historic year last year, and I don't know if that's something that you can rely on to be a consistent thing just for the way that his career is shaked out, because the efficiency that he showed last year, I don't know if that's going to just be there, because sometimes players just have that stellar year and they just locked in for different reasons. So I just got a lot of questions when it comes down to the Bulls, as you can see, and I don't know exactly where we are in the pecking order. I would love to say that we could finish top four, but that's gonna be very, very tough with a lot of motivation with some of these other squads in the Eastern Conference, man. It's looking like we're gonna be in the middle of the pack, and that don't even leave us in a good draft position. Help me out, Brody.
Yeah, I said it before. You watched the Chicago Bulls. They did well in the preseason because they scored a lot of points. And then you watched them play Toronto, and you saw OJ Anunoby just literally lock up Zach LaVine. And you lost any pretense that the Bulls were going to threaten anybody during the playoffs. I feel so bad because they're going to win 44 to 48 games, but they don't really make anybody feel like, ooh, they're going to do something in the playoffs.
We don't scare nobody, man. And just looking at the squad, if anybody else has any takes or any thoughts on the Bulls, feel free, to just don't pile on this. But
hop in here, because I already tell you it's going to be up to Ayu Dosunmu to see how good the Bulls can be. Nat, go ahead, and then after that, if you want to chime in on the Bulls, just go ahead and come off your mic and go, Nat.
You're not really going to be a really good defensive team. I think that the issues with Vucevic is not about him. It's more about the team and the coaching, because he comes from a team where he can get 25 in his sleep and the offense is ran through him, and he's getting the magic to a 8th seed, and everybody's looking at the end of the year like, how the hell did they do that? It's because of him. And then he gets there to Chicago, and he's at 18 points. And if you look at how the plays are ran and the coaching, that's not a him problem. That's a Bulls problem. So if they want to run some plays through him and actually get him involved, and maybe look at what worked for him before, that could help make you guys win a few more games and be actually exciting. I don't think the Lonzo, Zach LaVine, and DeMar DeRozan is going to work long term. I think you guys have really good pieces, just the wrong pieces on this team. So you might need to do some trading and mixing and matching in order to be more cohesive. But Zach LaVine's going to put up some points. DeRozan's gonna play well, but you guys are going to be another first round exit. Sorry to say.
And I mean, like, I feel you on it. Oh, good morning, sis. I feel you on that because, like, that's
What's
the
up, Sam?
frustrating
Good
thing.
morning.
I sit there and I was talking to my old man about it, and he's like, I hate the fact that Vucevic is on the perimeter, but I'm like, this is actually where they're putting him because they're creating lanes for all of these slashers that they brought into the organization. So you got to have some lanes for them to go to and be able to do what they do and do what they do best. So you kind of like forced him to change his game, but he came from a team where he was the top dog, and now you kind of like pushed him out of the pecking order because you brought in this quote unquote mid three. Well, I don't want to say mid three, but y'all know what I mean. It's like they were great in the way that they were supposed to play together, but we really haven't seen it that much because Lonzo ain't been able to stay healthy. And I do question some of Billy Donovan's coaching and the way that he's actually shaping and molding his team, because outside of him, like, yeah, we got Drummond, but I don't know how much time Drummond is going to be able to see. And if you put him and Vucevic on the court together, that's a pick and roll nightmare. Like, they just going to eat us alive. So I don't really know what we can actually do to be the team that the names say that we're supposed to be.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. If Ayo Dosunmu can establish himself to be a viable replacement for Lonzo Ball, and if you actually look at what that means for the Bulls, that means he needs to be able to score about 12 points per game, get about 6 rebounds and 6 assists while playing defense. That's what they need to do, and if they can't do that, I don't trust them. Tony, what do you got?
The key number there is the rebounds, and I think that Chicago's downfall going into the back half of the season was teams just taking Vooch and getting him out of the action, running him to a corner, and just feasting on the boards, especially in the playoffs. Lonzo was able to create, great offensive rebounds for them down in the block. He was able to get crafty with the defensive rebounds a little bit. Caruso too. Like, I think Caruso rebounds pretty well for such a small guard. But once Vooch is out of the action, if he's isolated in the corner or if he's defending the strong side of the ball, then there's nobody there. There's nobody there to cover the boards, to block out the biggest guy, to go up and aggressively high point a ball. And the way they play offense, there's no way that anyone's generating any offensive rebounds. So there's no extra possessions for the Chicago Bulls, and that was okay when they were scoring 1 million points. But you have to keep that pace in order to win basketball games, especially during the regular season, right? So they're a hard team to judge, Sam. I can't tell you I'm too high on them. I'm going to tell you something really blasphemous, and I totally understand you wanting to kill me for it, but I just can't see them competing for positioning in the East. Like, I really feel like they're the team. Somebody has to fall. I'm not quite sure who it is, but right now, odds on, it looks like Chicago, because they just don't have a repeatable game plan going in, night out during the regular season. I don't know how they're going to win games.
I'm completely right there with you, and that's why I got this solemn face on this morning, because I'm looking forward to the start of the season, but it's like my team is in turmoil.
Yeah, you can't even talk about the Lakers either, because it's not really looking too bright in LA either.
Chris,
what's
Chris,
up?
I had a question. So about the Bulls, right? Is there a trade that you see that they could make that would improve their chances of maybe making the second round, let's say. Maybe like a player that would be more cohesive with maybe Zach LaVine.
I got one.
Go ahead. What's your trade?
No, I want to hear yours just to see how much we're the same person.
Honestly, no. If I'm the Bulls front office, I am sitting Zach LaVine down, and I'm saying we have a line of demarcation. If we stay around 500 and we don't feel like we are going to win, we're going to blow this up. Vooch will be gone. DeRozan will be gone. Patrick Williams will be gone. They already didn't extend Kobe White. Goran Dragic is on a 1 year. Tony Bradley's on a 1 year. Javonte Green is done. They will turn over their entire roster and have just Lonzo, Zach LaVine, and Dalen Terry on contracts, and they will rebuild.
So I have a trade.
Yeah.
And my trade is Luke Cornett for Vucevic. And now hear me out.
Really? Matt? I thought you was my sister. Really, Matt?
Listen, brother. Y'all are ruining Vucevic, and I can't watch it another year. So I would like to take him and save him because we could damn sure use him.
Listen, Vucevic, as he currently stands, is the best center that we've had since I've been alive. You think I don't want him to succeed?
I hope so. Tell the coach. Go tweet him. I tweet my coaches.
The real story here, ladies and
Popcorn
gentlemen.
at Donovan the other night in the preseason game.
This is the real story is Nat just confirmed the greatness of Luke Cornett. Everybody give her a round of applause.
Absolutely. He is great. Y'all should trade for him. The teams need him.
Leader of blocks for Vanderbilt University. And as leader of blocks in Vanderbilt University, he can shore up that help defense for the Chicago Bulls. Let's go to Bonkai, then Breeze, Young Heavy, and Micah. Clear those out. We also have Eddie in the house. We'll get to some Brooklyn Nets talk after we talk to Tony. We'll go first to Breeze, then Bonkai, Young Heavy, and Micah. Breeze, Bonkai, and Young Heavy, go ahead and get ready for your final take. And unfortunately for Breeze, his only take of the day as we get ready to process some more hands. Go ahead, Matt. Go ahead. Bonkai first.
Okay.
Woo, man, the finger was there. The finger was there, Bonkai. You got lucky.
I saved myself. So lucky. Best performance tonight. Well, what player do you think is going to have the best performance out of the four teams playing?
I think James Harden has the best night tonight.
Sounds a little biased.
No, I think Boston will funnel their defense towards Joel Embiid because they only have Al Horford, and Al Horford can't guard Embiid any longer. Like this isn't 2 years ago. So they'll send a little bit extra help, and that'll open up the passing lanes for James Harden. I think he ends up having an 18 point, 12 assist, 6 rebound night, and I think that'll carry the Sixers to victory.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah. I by the way, I think Harden leads the league in assists this year. Like, I don't even think it's close.
I agree.
Like, I don't even think it's close. I think he might be the only player with double-digit assists and the only player that I think who can get close to him this season. It's not Trae Young. It's not. I don't think he is. I think DeJounte Murray actually siphons off assists. I can't wait to tell you who it is. I'll tell you about it later. We'll go to Breeze next. Breeze, go ahead.
I says, making it quick, just want to shout out Hoop Spaces. Love how you run your show very well, Ron. Appreciate it. I just want to, I'm a Knicks fan. Hopefully this season goes well. It's been a crazy summer for Knicks Twitter. I'm glad it's over because it was the longest 3 months in Knicks Twitter history. 2 teams I'm going to talk about that I think for this season, depending on health, which I get to the conference finals if everything plays well. I'm not ready now. Cleveland Cavaliers and Denver Nuggets. Denver Nuggets last season played a bunch of backups. Now they get some of their guys back. And if some pieces could work out, I like the layout of their team and finally getting Jokic some help. and the guys who played heavy minutes last year in their natural roles could be kind of good for the team. But obviously, matchups and health plays a key factor in that. Cleveland Cavaliers, I like their backcourt. And with the mobility of Mobley and Jared Allen being able to switch on the perimeter, I think they'll make it tough for some guys. I do believe if I don't know if Karis LeVert is on the bench, he's starting at the 3. If they're off the bench, I believe they're like one piece away. If they can make from the deadline, they could make a conference finals run. Things have to break right for them, chemistry as well. But with some kind of in flux right now, this could be an opportunity for both teams to make a conference final. Appreciate you, Chris.
Man, love it, Breeze. Great takes, as always. And make sure you come back in when you can. And also, ladies and gentlemen, down below, if you haven't yet, go ahead and sign up for the newsletter. It's absolutely free. You'll get a recap with the best performers, links to stories so you don't have to go searching all the way around. And like I said, it's free. And it helps me. It doesn't really necessarily help me yet, but it will in the future. And I appreciate that help. Appreciate you, Breeze. Young Heavy, last take of the day. What do you got?
Of course, I gotta end it off talking about my Lakers because I am a Lakers fan. So I feel like we're going to surprise a lot of people this year if we can stay healthy. I feel like looking at AD, he's going to shoot better from the 3-point field this year. It seems like he's been working on his 3-point shot a whole lot. I feel like people are overlooking us because we're trying to figure out what we're doing with this roster we have. But I feel like we're going to surprise a lot of people this year, and don't be shocked if you see the Lakers in the top 5 in the West this year.
All right, there you go. I love it.
Well, I want to say 2 things. One, you're a lot more optimistic as a Lakers fan than I am currently sitting where I'm sitting, because Westbrook is a whole nother thing that's to be discussed. But I do want to say this to Breeze. Like, this is not a shot against you, but I definitely need my Bulls to finish before your Knicks in whatever standings we got.
We could do a jersey bet. If we do, then I like. If we don't, then you buy me one.
You know what? I'm with that. I agree, and this is recorded, so Chris will hold me to it. So.
All right, I'm going to get a tweet out there. The gauntlet has been laid down. 2 people have made a wager for a jersey. We have now put it and etched it in stone. All right. I think James Harden is going to win the assist total. I think it's not going to be close. I think the only player that might have a chance to be in double-digit assists is the veteran Chris Paul, who had 10 assists per game last season. He returns to a Phoenix team that's not changed. So I expect him to potentially challenge. Dark horse candidate, Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets. Yeah, he had 8 per game last season. He's returning Jamal Murray, who could be healthy. He's getting another shooter in KCP. And Michael Porter Jr. should be healthy. And if you've seen him play, he is more perimeter focused. If those 2 players are healthy, I could see Nikola Jokic joining the likes of Oscar Robertson and Russell Westbrook and averaging a triple-double. And if he does that, I actually also think he will be a 3-time three-peat and be NBA MVP. All right, we got some more hands to clear. I want to thank Bonkai and Young Heavy and Breeze. Up next, we will go to Micah, and then we have Eddie. And we're going to talk some Nets, and then we're going to get to the game tonight that everybody really wants to talk about, and that is the Golden State Warriors supremacy starting day 1, season 2 of Hoop Spaces. Micah, good morning.
Out.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. The first horn of the NBA season goes to Micah Clark. Everybody give him a round of boos. All right. Good morning, Micah. Give us your take for opening day.
Okay, hey, real quick. All right, 1 second. So, real quick, just because a player does not fit your timeline or does not fit your team does not make him a terrible player. Okay. First of all, I want to take this time to say thank you to the Houston Rockets for giving us an 18-10 big for a cheerleading squad. I'll leave it at that. But real quick, hey, I want to do a quick plug. If you're not checking in on Hoopstresses, you're missing out. Great space, great talk. Loved it. Caught it for the first time last night. Give them a listen. But yeah, that's all I got.
All right. Well, I will tell Nat and the Hoopstresses. They'll definitely appreciate that as I mute your mic because of the construction sound. I was there for the first 40 minutes. I love what Nat Flinchel has done with the Hoopstresses, giving a powerful platform to the voice of women in sports. Last night, herself, Siobhan, and SJ Basketball was in the building breaking down the NBA preview for this season. In fact, if you look up top, it's actually up there in case you missed it last night. I was there. Snacks for Tweets was there as well. He was there after I was there. Funny how that worked. All right, everybody. Thank you, Micah, for shouting out a great group of women who are just passionate about ball and want to talk. And just like that, we also have our own passionate women here on Hoop Spaces as well. One of them is Nelly J. She and Fahim are hosts of the Good Rookies podcast and Toronto Raptors Live and Spaces. I was on the podcast yesterday. We just chopped it up real quick, talked about Scotty Barnes and Jalen Suggs, the fallout from that draft, and also really just about what we do here on Hoop Spaces. So make sure you take a listen, download it, leave a review, because that's how they get better. Up next, we're going to go to TJ, and then we have Eddie, and we're going to talk some Brooklyn Nets, everybody. TJ, go ahead, get your take in here. We're going to talk with Eddie about some Brooklyn Nets, and we'll come back to the Golden State Warriors.
Good morning, Chris. I'm going to keep it real short and brief. I came up here just because I heard somebody say that the Lakers were going to be in the top 5. So I'm just going to say watch this game tonight and then retake, do a different retake. I'm on the road. The other thing I wanted to do is shout out Micah Clark. Congratulations. You are on pace to break 808's record for the Horns. And then my last take of the day, Paolo Banchero is on the Orlando Magic, and he's also from Duke. I will just leave it at that. You guys have a nice one.
Oh, Jesus. I'm surprised you just didn't pop out and say UNC supremacy, #1 in men's college basketball.
AP #1. That's right.
There you go. Yeah, Sam, no offense.
No, come on. Nah, that's offensive. How dare you, TJ?
How's that offensive? Is he not from Duke? He's from Duke.
Yeah, and that's a great program. Historically great program. The Blue Devils.
Real quick.
Don't do that.
You say historically great, and I say they put out historically trending overrated players. What do you say about that?
Facts.
I disagree with you emphatically.
Okay.
And we don't have enough time.
I know we don't. That's the shame about it. All right, up next we got Eddie, and if you know, you know, and if you don't, too bad. Eddie, good morning. Your Brooklyn Nets ranked number 10 in the NBA preseason or before season power rankings. Returning Kevin Durant healthy, Kyrie Irving healthy, and Ben Simmons looking the healthiest and happiest I have seen him in his entire professional career. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Chris. How you doing? Hopefully you can hear me hear me okay over there.
Yep, we got you loud and clear, and I'm doing good.
All right, good to hear. Good to hear, man. I wasn't gonna actually talk about my Nets yet. I actually thought I might have misheard, but I think I heard you earlier, advocating for tanking of the Chicago Bulls if they only go 500. How can you sit there and talk about tanking and the season is just about to start?
Oh, I'm not talking about tanking. I never said that. Look, what I said is that they're going to take a proactive role in ensuring that they're going to build a competitive product around Zach LaVine.
You know what? I knew I misheard because I know we do not advocate tanking around here. We want all our teams to go for first place and try to win that chip.
Now, if they happen to be 20 and 34, like they're already tanking. They trying to win, but hey,
let me tell you something. I've never seen a team that had such a great. I mean, we've probably seen it in the past, but the Bulls just look like a team that they just have these these good players on this team, and they just don't mesh. Something about them, that whether it's the offense they're running, whether it's just the guys they don't play together very well. It's just they got a good collection of names. Like playoff teams that are in contention can actually pick one or two players from that Bulls team and make their own teams better. But for some reason, you put those guys together, they just don't work. But I'm not here for the Bulls. I'm actually here for my Nets, actually. And I know we're ranked 10th. The recency bias is strong with the sports media and fans in general, but that's okay, because you know what? We've gone into the past couple seasons, being number one and just, the Nets are going to be world beaters. No, we got kicked. We got a good kick in the face in the playoffs last year. It was a disaster last year, and there isn't any real Net fan that isn't going to tell you that. They know that it was a disaster. That's fine. We're going to come in with a healthy Ben Simmons, healthy Durant, and Kyrie Irving looking good. I mean, the preseason, if that was a precursor to a couple things to come, it's just all about these guys having some good chemistry together. They look like they're just, they're at the tip. They can get it. If they can get it together, it's going to be a scary team. I just, I don't care about whether they're ranked 10th in the power rankings. That those don't mean anything to me. I just worry about this team building chemistry throughout the season and taking the regular season seriously. Barring any serious injury, they can go pretty far. And for the first 2 months, I think it's going to be a Steve Nash watch, just because of everything that's been going on for the last couple seasons, and this man is being openly clowned in the sports media. It's going to be it's going to be whether Steve Nash is going to make it through the first 2 months of the season, because the first 10 or so games are going to be pretty rough. So we're going to see how they start out. If they start out pretty well, he'll probably keep his job. If not, it's going to be a Steve Nash watch for the first 2 months.
Yeah,
that's all I got.
You took my point away. Like, I haven't got nothing to talk about the Brooklyn Nets, because that's my take. Like, we'll find out. We'll find out fast too. Like, the way I think this worked is Joe Tsai, Sean Marks, and KD sat down, and like KD just opened up and let it rip. And I can see, like, if y'all have 20 games and you guys are like more than 3 or 4 games out of 500, I think he's gone. And that's guys, that's not even Christmas. Like, that's
I don't see him. Yeah, if it starts out bad, he might not make it through Christmas. I'm in agreement with that, and that's just my personal opinion. It's definitely the Steve Nash watch if it doesn't start off well, and they're not gonna, and nobody's gonna give him nobody's gonna be worried about the Nets and Steve Nash. They're gonna come out to kill him.
Yeah,
they're gonna come out to kill him. Those first 10 games are tough.
The one thing that I wonder, and again, this is also a coaching thing. I look at this lineup, and the best lineup that I see is Ben Simmons at point, Kyrie at 2, Royce O'Neal at the 3 but guarding the 4, Kevin Durant at the 4 guarding the 3, and Nick Claxton starting. That gives you the most versatility, gives you some good defense, gives you some shooting. But then you look at the bench and like, oh my God, Patty Mills is still struggling. Seth Curry is out. Joe Harris is out. TJ Warren is out. And that, once again, means that as a guard, you are relying on Patty Mills and then the young player Cam Thomas. And then when you look at the wing depth with TJ Warren out until November, and if you put Royce O'Neal in the starting lineup, that only gives you Kessler Edwards, ladies and gentlemen, as your only wing. And then that's Day'Ron Sharpe and Markieff Morris as your backup 4s and 5s. Like, that is not a good squad in terms of depth. And that is going to be heavy lifting for Steve Nash. We'll get everybody's thoughts real quick. If you want to get your take on the Brooklyn Nets, raise your hand. You can also put it down below in the chat box. Want to give some shout outs to Rel. I just shared one of his tweets up here. And let me tell you, Pels fans, they are ready. All right? They are going to be this year's Atlanta Hawks fans, and y'all just going to have to take it, because they've been waiting for so long to be good, and now they believe they are good, and so do I. So shout out to all those Pelicans fans. I think They're going to surprise people in the Western Conference. Thank you, Rel, for popping in that GIF. I will tell you, I have stolen it. I will use it. It is now mine. It is mine. I love it. Thank you. All right, JF, you got something for Brooklyn. Go ahead.
Yeah, my question is, knowing that what Brooklyn fans have seen from, Ben Simmons and his previous team, I'm wondering what faith or what do they see that is going to show different than what he displayed in Philadelphia?
If you're just gonna go by the game, consistency, but I can't really explain it well because a lot of people they just didn't really see the outside, the inside of Ben Simmons, and we've got Al up here, a 76ers fan as well. This is the happiest I've ever seen Ben Simmons as a person. Like, imagine going to your job unhappy at the job, about the job, with the coworkers every day, right? You don't like your boss. You don't like your coworkers. You feel they're against you. The outside noise of the fans, let's be honest, we as Sixers fans, like, we're bad on our players. Like, we might be the worst fan base on our players. And imagine doing that year in and year out.
We're not bad. We're whatever the worst name than bad is. Just use that. We're horrifying on our players.
So just imagine, JF, you're in that job, and then you leave that job to go do the same job, but at a place where you are actually comfortable, you're relaxed, and you could even crack a joke and smile. It's an amazing experience and feeling, and that is what's really going to catapult Ben Simmons back to where we thought he would be. And he's on a team that literally says, we don't care if you shoot or not because we have two dudes who are going to take 22 shots. So, like, a lot of people's hate on Ben Simmons, I think, is going to be, misconstrued now, because he's essentially going to be Uber Draymond. He's going to be able to be a Draymond Green who can grab a defensive rebound, be the best transition basketball player in the league, not named LeBron James or Giannis or maybe Anthony Edwards. That dude is just something else. And be an elite rebounder and defender, right? He doesn't even need to be elite facilitated. He's going to get 7 assists just by being tall. So, like, I think a lot of people are going to have a hard discussion with themselves about Ben Simmons. And we'll go to Eddie first to answer that question as well. And then we'll hit up Al and then Sam. Eddie, good morning.
Yeah, I think we got to really be careful on trying to judge Ben Simmons on just his negatives only. I think we have to look and think of any of us that has been in a bad working environment. And then all of a sudden we get that new job and that whole aura that we go to work with, like you said, Chris, it's totally different. You come in and you have a totally different feel about your job once you change workplaces. You could be doing the same exact thing, but just from the environment. I mean, we got to be careful not to judge the man. He went through a lot. When was the last time he played? What, maybe two seasons ago, 2 years ago? I mean, we've only seen flashes. We're assuming that he's going to be healthy coming in. They held him out last year. He had his surgery. He looks. I mean, if you go by the preseason and where he left off, maybe before physically, I mean, he looks like he's just ramping up right now, and I think he just needs a little time to get his legs under him. He hasn't played in a year and a half at least. Any real ball. It's been about a year and a half, so I think we got to give him time and be careful with the jokes about his little shots here or there. But the man has not played professional basketball, in about a year and a half at least in an organized game. So let's be careful with that. And we're just going to take the best of Ben Simmons. The guy's in his 7th year, coming into a 7th year, but he's only really played 4 full seasons. So there's a lot of Ben Simmons left to be there's a lot to learn about him going forward, and everything I've seen so far, that's all I could really go on. What I've seen and the way he's played and his aura, the aura about him, he looks like he's ready to go, and he has a good supporting cast.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%, and I think what happened is this was a trade that helped both sides, and that rarely happens in the NBA. Rarely do you get two players of some type of elite status or capability traded for each other that helps each other's team. Go ahead, Eddie. I think you have something else. We'll get Sam's response. We have Logan the Foot, and we're going to move over to Al, and we're going to talk some Sixers tonight.
Well, Chris, I just wanted to ask, do you think that Steve Nash is going to be that coach to help Ben Simmons out? And like his progression at least towards being consistent, because again, I don't want to have any type of expectations about anything for Ben Simmons, instead for consistency on whatever coach is trying to teach him. But do you think Steve Nash is that guy to help him out?
I think they hired Igor Kokoskov to actually do that more than Steve Nash. A lot of people make that correlation because Steve was a multi-MVP point guard. They play the game completely different, and I don't think there's much of anything Steve can impart beyond watching film and telling Ben what he sees. But Igor is going to be able to put Ben in the position to succeed within the framework of the offense. And that is also something he did not have in Philadelphia, because the framework of the offense was centered around Joel Embiid, not really a perimeter-centric attack, which is what Brooklyn has, JF. Eddie, if there's anything you want to hop in here to answer JF's question, go ahead. We'll go up to Sam. We'll say what's up to Logan the Foot, and then we'll go to Al and talk some Sixers.
Yeah, the only commonality I see with Steve Nash and Ben Simmons is the fact that they're both great at they always look to pass first. That's the only similarity that I would see. You'd have to literally, back in his MVP days, you'd have to force Steve Nash to shoot. He had so many weapons around him. He didn't even really look to shoot. I think he might have scored like 15 points a game, if I'm right, somewhere between 15 and 18 points a game. I don't even think he even reached 18. And that's the only similarity that I see. Maybe he can help him with his mentality on trying to get his teammates involved. But I think Ben is already good at that. So I'm not sure if Steve is the guy to actually to make Ben move forward. But I would say maybe more his teammates and the support from his teammates. But yeah, that's all I got.
All right. I like it. All right. We'll go to Sam. Sam, your thoughts, and then we'll get Logan the Foot involved.
Yeah, I understand that everybody's having this cheer moment, where Ben Simmons is like in a position where everybody knows his name and he gets to smile and do all of these things. And I appreciate that. But at the same time, like when I look at the organization and I look at somebody like Steve Nash, like I haven't seen a coach get this disrespected publicly in probably like my life from the entirety of different people in the organization. So you sit there and you have Steve Nash come in. If they wanted to pay him, they felt that was the guy. They felt like that was their guy. Then you got, Kyrie say like, yo, we ain't got no coach. We don't need no coach. And then now we fast forward to KD saying everything that we need, that he said, as far as like wanting to get him fired, et cetera, et cetera. And now you say that he's going to be gone by Christmas if they don't have a winning record. I would think that, Steve Nash would be insulated in this situation, because like then we turn back into the situation where it's like, okay, well, who's actually running the asylum? I get that NBA players and NBA stars and NBA champions, have a whole lot of sway and say in what happens and what goes on in organizations. But I would think, like, just from the optics of it all, Steve Nash would probably be insulated just for this year alone, if nothing else, because like everybody's been calling for his job the second that he got it. Now, do I feel like he was the person for the job when he got it? No, I don't. But now he has the job. So you can't call for the man's head several times and then turn around and give the people what they want. Like that don't seem like that's a fairity, and that don't seem like that looks good for a team optics, because what do you do with the next head coach? Because when they turn around and say what they want to say about him, they just gonna ask him. Like, nah, you gotta have some type of regularity. You gotta have some type of, resolve when it comes down to the decisions that you made. And I get that KD kind of backed down from his original stand. But you called for the man's job and you said that I couldn't play for the man and I couldn't be there. Kyrie don't respect the man. So, like, what is he supposed to do? So if y'all, 5 games under 500 and we 20 games in, you just going to ask the man and you just going to, like, that just seemed whack to me.
Sam, can I ask you a question?
Sure. Sure can.
What do you think is you? So I'm trying to figure out what you were trying. What the point of the? Do you think Steve management should come out and say, Steve, you got the job for the whole year? I'm trying to understand what you
No,
were
I
getting
mean,
at.
I'm saying, like, if you're gonna rock with Steve Nash and you're gonna bring him in this year as the coach, then you should at least let him finish out the season and see where the chips fall. But you can't sit there, if it comes down to it. And I understand Chris got insiders in a completely different way than I do. So if he's saying something, it's saying it for a reason. But like, nah, you can't just turn away from the guy, and everybody's already been calling for his head. That ain't had no reason to call for his head because you gave him the job in the first place.
Gotcha. I just think that it's a bit, at least the way we know the NBA as it is, and it's been like this for the last number of years. Usually, if a team that's expected to do well doesn't do well, usually the coach is the first one to get scapegoated, right or wrong. I mean, we've seen guys that won coaches of the year, and they get fired after a bad start. Last one I can remember is the guy in Detroit right now.
Dwayne Casey.
Yeah, Dwayne
Correct.
Casey.
Yeah,
But
he winning coach of the year, and then he gets fired like probably a year or so later,
No, it wasn't
because
even
his
a
team
year
didn't make it
later.
to a certain point.
yeah,
It wasn't even
it
a year
wasn't a
later.
year
So
later.
yeah,
But
so
I
it's
do
just
recognize.
it's a results league. It's such a results league, and I think the Nets would be worried. And like I said, this is just me talking. I'm not saying I know anything. It's just this is me talking anyway. I think that because of the expectations of the team and the group that you have around you, first of all, tanking is not going to be an option, and you're trying to win. And if you can salvage a season and get the locker room by getting in another guy, then I think I can't see why they wouldn't do it. I mean, I'm not saying right or
Well,
wrong.
let
It's
me
just that's just the way the
But,
NBA has
but
worked
let
that's
me
the
let
thing.
the
me
Like,
last.
I
let me
can
put
I
it
can
let me put
completely
it this way,
understand.
Sam. I want if would you give Steve Nash, after everything you've seen him do as head coach of the Brooklyn Nets, would you today give him a contract extension?
Without a day, give him a contract extension.
With everything you've seen from him up to today, would you today give Steve Nash a contract extension as head coach?
No, I will let him see out the year.
Well, that is why he would be gone, because they
But
are
see,
already saying, "Hey, we're not going to give you a contract extension because we're not liking what we've seen the last couple of years. Now we know that there are some extenuating circumstances, but you are still responsible for the end product on the floor."
I mean, okay, like in a vacuum, I can understand that conversation. But looking outside of it, and this is a unique situation, like I haven't seen a team in this much of an influx in the last year and a half with everything that's happened with this team, where any coach in this system or this would have been successful. So to put it on Steve Nash and be like, yo, like, okay, well, you're the reason why we got like that don't mean that you're gonna keep Kevin Durant, and that still don't mean that you're gonna keep like that means nothing. So you getting rid of like the only constant that's tried to be a constant for the organization and try to like actually act like a professional, because everybody else just been crying like babies the entire time. You got the Ben Simmons saga, you got Kevin Durant and his saga, you got KD and his saga, and then like you got Kyrie doing what he want to do, and then you also had to deal with James Harden in and out and not wanting to play when he wanted to play, and ultimately being gone from the organization. So like the only person that's actually showed up and acted like an adult is Steve Nash. So you gonna make
Well,
him the scapegoat. So you gonna make
he's
him the
shown up.
scapegoat. I'm just saying. I get that we feel that he's inadequate as a coach. I didn't think that he was supposed to get the position, but that's who you chose. But everything that's happened, I think that it's just bad optics all the way around, because now you just giving them exactly what they want, and who gonna come in and make that work?
Oh,
I will.
anybody who thinks they can do it and win a championship. Like
Yeah.
that
Okay.
that's the thing. The question is do they already have that person on the roster? Is that why they hired Igor, or is there somebody out there that can come in and steady the ship as a head coach? I just the issue that I have is it seems as though it's okay to say you don't think he should have gotten it. I'm not saying you, Sam. I'm just saying in general. but it's not okay to say, hey, we tried and it hasn't worked to our expectations and we think it's time to move on.
But we think it's time to move on because of what? What is that?
Because of the inability to produce a product on the floor that is competitive and winning.
But he ain't had the same product on the floor. That's the whole point.
Hey, it doesn't. I understand what your point is.
The problem is, Sam, the NBA doesn't care.
Yeah.
Like the culture of the NBA doesn't care. It's a results business where literally it does. And honestly, him making it to this point is actually pretty good for everything that's going on.
I'm surprised.
Him making it this far is actually an accomplishment. So for him to have this next year to, we're saying that he has this year he does have this year actually to actually see if he can get an extension and actually win over this team. Winning cures everything. So if he wins this year, there's nothing to argue.
Hey, I'm all for this, Eddie. I would go to Phoenix and say, I'll trade you Steve Nash and a first-round pick for Monty Williams.
You're so funny because I think Sam mentioned the fact that it seems like this guy's the most disrespected coach in the league. And I've literally seen a conversation on, I think it's In the Smoke podcast, where they had Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, and they were talking about that same exact thing, Chris. Trading coaches.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
But it fits.
It makes sense though.
It fits. I don't know. Like sometimes it just makes sense, and you just do it because it makes sense. Steve Nash coaching the Suns after losing Robert Sarver. You bring in some of these old Suns fans. You stabilize the franchise with a familiar, happy face, and then the Nets get a coach who can actually manage top flight egos.
I think the Nets. I know Nets fans would love Monty Williams on his staff right now.
I know. You're one of them. It's okay. Sam, what do you think?
I mean, like, the last time that I've seen that happen was with Doc Rivers? Wasn't he the last coach to get traded? So, I mean, it's not outside the realm of possibility, but I'm just saying, like, I'm just looking at the optics of it all. Did I think that he was the coach for the man for the job at the time when he got it? No, I didn't. But me and you, we can always have this conversation. You got hands raised, so I don't want to take everybody else's time. Jeff Cakes and Prezi and all of them, let them get in on this.
All right, no problem. We're gonna go next to Logan the Foot. Been waiting for a minute. I appreciate your patience, Logan. Good morning, happy NBA Day, and how are you feeling? And what do you got for us?
Yeah, good morning, everybody. To absorb all this Nets talk, I was just trying to think. I don't know if there's been a coach that's been thrown into a more like tumultuous situation like I can think of in recent years, but it's kind of unfair to Steve Nash. I like what you're saying. Like, it's not fair to kick him out when he hasn't really gotten, a really fair shake of a stable team and roster. But as a Bulls fan, the Nets are just fascinating to me. As a basketball fan, like on paper, it's going to be thrilling to watch how it forms together and all the exciting players, but also like how they're going to mesh personality-wise. It's just, it's kind of up in the air. But I just know when they're on TV, I'm going to watch for sure. But I will say Ben Simmons, I think, is in a great spot because he doesn't have much on his shoulders. He can kind of play that Draymond Green role. I think he'll thrive, but it's the other pieces that might, fall apart a little bit, I guess. But as a bystander, I'm here to watch the Nets explode, either bad or good. But yeah, I'm curious to see how it unfolds.
At least you're honest about it. Praying on their downfall, honestly. Give Logan a point, ladies and gentlemen. And Eddie, you're gonna get it this year. I don't think a lot of people have forgiven the Nets for telling us there were going to be multiple parades down Flatbush. Like, seriously, dying out here. JF, hop in here, and then we got Prezi, and then we're going to talk Sixers as they play the Boston Celtics tonight. And I tell you what, I think this is a year for Philadelphia sports. It's going to be dope. All right, JF, what you got?
Yeah, Chris, I wanted to ask, was it fair when Dwayne Casey got fired after he won Coach of the Year? Was it fair that Mark Jackson got fired right before Golden State started their run? I mean, at the end of the day, you got to understand, like, to me, there's no excuses. And I couldn't make an excuse for Mark Jackson, and I couldn't make an excuse for Dwayne Casey. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes down to Steve Nash, like, it's a little bit unexcusable just because with the supreme talent of KD and Kyrie, that's a given already W. But what else are you going to do with the other players? And that's always been my question. Again, like, I think there's other guys that deserve a chance to be the head coach in the NBA. I think it's just a little bit tough right now because of what happened last year and I guess what they're trying to do. But if Kevin Durant speaks, you know what I'm saying, and he says something like, obviously, he ain't called Steve Kerr trash. You know what I'm saying? He ain't called Billy Donovan trash. I don't even know if he was with Billy Donovan. But all the guys he's with, he never really said that about a coach. So for him to come out and say that, that's a little bit concerning. And not saying, you know, Steve Nash is a bad person for being a bad coach or whatnot, or an unexperienced coach. But, I mean, just look at the road that Jason Kidd took for him to get to where he's at and succeed with the Dallas Mavericks. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of guys who can be successful, you know, from player to coach, but you got to go under that head coach experience of somebody. And I don't know if what type of system Steve Nash is trying to implement, maybe the D'Antonio system where it's just nothing but offense. But at the end of the day, you know, there's a lot of concerns I have for Brooklyn. I do call them the paper champs. There's a lot of paper champs in the NBA right now before we start. So the only thing I want to see, maybe if Steve Nash is not that guy, somebody else gets the opportunity. And like I said, maybe Dwayne Casey.
Yeah, I think Dwayne Casey is another good fit. So would Eric Spoelstra. He'd be a great fit in Brooklyn. Yeah, that was a shot. I
I was
know.
gonna say something, Chris, but let me not.
Yeah, that was a shot. I know. I heard the mouth drop. I heard the initial. I'm gonna say something, and I knew I got you. It's all good. Prezi, I'm gonna give you a minute, and then we're gonna talk Sixers. What's up, bro? How you doing? It's been a minute. Uh-oh. Hate to see it. That's two.
Come on, Prezi.
Hate to see it. All right, we're going to move over to Al, and we're going to talk some Sixers tonight. By the way, the Brooklyn Nets have 2 first-round draft picks in the 2023 draft. They have their own, and then they have the best of either Houston or Philadelphia due to the James Harden trade. So, yes, they could trade, Steve Nash in the first for Monty Williams, and it would be hilarious if it happened in the middle of the season. I will die laughing, and I would be screaming, I was right. Prez, you with us? I want to give you a second before we start talking Sixers.
I'm here. My bad, man. I didn't know my mic was off. I was really talking. Anyway, my hand been raised for so long. I want to respond to everybody, but I'm gonna try to make this really quick. First of all, to the person who just said KD never said anything about his former coach, he actually did. That's what the whole burner account thing was about. He did speak about Billy Donovan and whatever. I can't remember what the tweet was, but I know that's what uncovered the whole burner account thing with KD. So
yeah, it was something. It was something along the lines that he's a college coach.
Yeah, something like that. It's only me and Russ. I remember that, but he did speak about Billy Donovan, right? And I just want to say in the defense of Steve Nash, right? I'm not here to say he's a good, and Chris, you made a good point. If he's not a good X and O coach, right? We're not talking about what's fair or what's not, right? But I'm just saying I don't think he has been given the fair chance at all, right? And to say we're gonna call for his job half the way, the whole way, whatever, he hasn't been given the opportunity to show what he can do. What importance do we put on what Kevin Durant or Kyrie Irving or James Harden or Ben Simmons goes out there and actually does? They are the players, right? Players make coaches. Mike Budenholzer, they wanted his job until, you know what? Halfway through the 2020 playoffs, people were calling him all sorts of names. They went out there, they win. Winning heals everything, right? They went out there, they win, and now Mike is still a head coach over there. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving are complicit in the failures of Brooklyn so far. It's not cool to just put Steve Nash on the helm of this burning hill and just leave him there by himself. Doesn't work that way. They had 4 games to get out of, to show us that they could get out of round 1, and they failed every trip of it. Steve Nash wasn't out there in shorts or with a basketball in his hand. It doesn't work that way. Now, of course, somebody can come back and say, yeah, but what did Steve Nash draw up for blah, blah, blah. We talk about superstars being superstars, and that's when you expect them to make certain things happen. The other great players that we speak about, we've seen them go out there in crunch time and make what needs to happen. So much more I want to say, but just to be fair to the room and let it flow, I don't think it's cool or fair to just put Steve Nash on this burning hill by himself. The experiment. Look at somebody like Doc Rivers, right? Who's allowed. It's like 2008 has bought Doc Rivers 50 years of excuses, right? He had the first failed experiment in the Clippers, and he had the second try again with the Clippers. But we don't say anything. Why? Because he's a winning coach, and Steve Nash is only a second-year, third-year coach. So let's burn Steve Nash and let's give Doc Rivers another chance. I don't get it, man. But whatever. I'm out of here. That was a good segue into the Sixers, by the way. Right?
Yeah, I'm giving you a point. That's good. I'm going to use that as the segue. Good job, man. Ladies and gentlemen, follow Prez. He keeps it real. He's not going to lead you astray at all. And also, if you are of the gambling type, make sure you follow. JF, you wanted to say something? Go ahead. I see Mark is up here as well. We got our resident master of basketball here to train our minds. Go ahead, JF, and then we'll talk some Sixers.
Chris, weren't you saying last year during the playoffs that your team got hit with the Glenn Rivers syndrome?
Yeah, it's Glenn Rivers syndrome. It happens every year between the months of April and July. And one of the things that can happen is your heart can suddenly stop beating, and your reality comes crashing down beside you in real time. The 76ers take on the Boston Celtics in what is going to be one hell of a year for Philly sports. I am a 76ers fan. The next person speaking is also a 76ers fan, but he is also a Philadelphia Eagles fan. They are undefeated. And he's also a Philadelphia Phillies fan. Ring the bell. And that's my friend Al, ladies and gentlemen. A great year for Philadelphia sports. Tell them why this is the year Joel Embiid leads the Sixers to the promised land.
Let's go. Philly is lit right now. Philly's in the LCS. Trying to get to the chip. Sixers starting a new season. Come on. Eagles 6-0. Only undefeated team right now? What are we doing? Let's go. All right. Now, let's get to the squad. Everybody's underestimating us. I love it. I love it. I love it. We have made a lot of additions this year. Embiid's coming back healthy. Harden's lost the weight and looks like he's in phenomenal shape and ready to go. We stacked on the bench at every position. We got wings, we got defenders, we got shooters. I mean, what more can our management, can Morey have done to make our team ready to go where I think we're going this year, and that's to the finals. I can't be more excited of what we have on this bench, on our bench, our starting lineup, the toughness. We covered every facet that we were weak at last year. So for everybody that doesn't, Philly, I don't believe in them. Okay, let's see. And we're going to start tonight. We're going to come out, and I see an over 10-point win in Boston tonight. That's what I'm feeling right now. I'm feeling we're going to come out and step right on the throat right from the beginning and let people know on national TV that we're going to be that team this year in not just the East, the whole NBA. Chris, how you feeling about the squad this year?
I tell you what, I like what Daryl Morey's done. One thing about Daryl Morey that is a positive is he gives you a sense of direction, and he has said this: we are all in on making James Harden as comfortable as possible, which is why you see the additions of PJ Tucker and Daniel House from his Houston days. Has nothing to do with the fact that he thought they would be the best options. It had everything to do with the fact that it was the best way to make James Harden feel like he can contribute and know that he has players that understand what to expect from him to make it a better offensive approach from Philly. And I got to tell you, the person I'm most excited about isn't even James Harden or Joel Embiid or even Tyrese Maxey. The person I'm actually most excited about is Tobias Harris. He gets knocked on for his max contract, but all he's ever done is do exactly what every one of his coaches have ever told him to do. He tries his best, and I think as the fourth option, he's going to be wide open for these corner threes. He's going to have these mismatches on smaller guards. And I want to see the uber efficient Tobias Harris. I don't want to see the volume score from LA. I want the Tobias Harris who sat down and said, yo, how did Al Horford extend his career? Oh, he didn't just take every shot. He made that extra pass to put himself in position for a better shot. I think Tobias Harris has a 17, 6, and 4 year. And I think at the end of the season, we are going to be saying if we didn't have Tobias Harris, we wouldn't have a chance to win a championship.
I love the way he played in the playoffs. I need that Tobias. I tweeted that actually a couple weeks ago. I need to the playoff Tobias to play the whole season. If he plays like that, oh my God, sky's the limit for this team. Sky's the limit. I want to know what everybody else thinks though, because that's what it's curious. I was on Hoopsitches last night, and everybody, the Sixers. I don't know about them because they got it, this and that. I was just sitting back, relaxing, laughing. They had its fourth and fifth. And I'm like, okay, that's good money. I like when we the underdog. We won Super Bowls being the underdog, so I'm good with being the underdog. So let's go. But I want to hear what everybody else got to say.
All right. Well, here we are talking the Sixers. Go ahead. Let it rip. Is that Eddie? Eddie, you up first? All right, somebody go.
No, I didn't put my hand up.
All right, we'll go to Sam first, and we got JF, and then we'll go to Benny. Then we're going to introduce Master Seafood. He's going to teach y'all about ball. You're going to listen and get better and get smarter. 30 minutes until the close of the show, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank everybody for popping in, making any part of their day part of Hoop Spaces. Brought to you by SlamGoods.com. Head over to SlamGoods.com and pick up your copy of the latest episode. It has Victor Wembanyama, or pick up the WNBA Championship episode for $9.99. It has Asia Wilson on the cover. There's 3 covers, by the way. They're going to be collectibles. Pick up all 3 for $30. Use promo code HoopSpaces. Save 15%. Get them framed, and then that way, in 40 years from now, when you're getting ready to retire, you can sell them after you've gotten them autographed, and then you can mail me a check for like $500. There you go. All right, JF, Sixers talk.
So yeah, I'm trying to make this comparison, Chris. Is the Heat like the worst team to win, or is the Sixers the best team to lose? Still trying to figure that out. But coming into the season, you guys did pick up PJ. You guys still have your core intact. My belief is this with the 76ers. I think you're still probably going to live and die by Joel Embiid. I think he's such a huge presence on that team. He probably is the best player in the league right now. I can't even say it's Jokic. I gotta say it's Embiid, just the way how he's able to score, how he's able to just dominate and take over a game by himself. So I think they're really gonna rely on Joel Embiid and then also Tyrese Maxey. That's one dude that I'm afraid of. I mean, I ain't afraid of Harden as much anymore because he's a little bit up there in age. Tobias Harris is going to do his thing, you get what I'm saying? But he's not going to take it to the next level like how Maxey has shown in the playoffs. That man's on pace to drop some 40-point games this season, even if you see fatigue with James Harden or any of the other guards. George Niang, still looking for him. Would love to see him this season. Didn't see him in this series against the Heat. Other than that, Paul Reed, let's see how he does and how he comes off the bench for Joel Embiid. But that's all I got for the 76ers. And I think they're going to finish at least top 3.
Trez is going to come off the bench for Embiid. Paul Reed. Yeah, Paul Reed more than likely is going to be stuck until he can actually shoot the ball. He might get 15, but he needs to develop a corner three, and maybe he should hang out with Mark because Mark will get him shooting right. Benny, Sixers, what do you got?
Excuse me, oh my bad. Man, I'm super high on the Sixers. I saw James Harden lost all that weight. I'm really excited about him because, you know, there's memes about him having skill, not wanting to be a running dunk guy, but he really does rely on his quick first step a lot. And once he gets that burst back, I'm really excited for what he's doing. Sorry for right now. But outside of that, I think Tobias Harris is going to be huge for them, like they said, as a fourth option. I'm really excited about that. And I'm sorry. I just had one thing to say about the Nets, and I'll get off, by the way. Just 20 seconds. The reason I think Steve Nash isn't the coach that will lead like Brooklyn all the way is just because there's so many and
all right, you're kind of cutting out.
Sorry. Oh, I am? My fault.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
I'm outside right now.
All right.
I'll get off. Yeah.
All right, no problem. We got the first part, and then you probably just walked out a cell signal. Sam, your thoughts on the 76ers this season?
Christopher. When did this
I seen you laughing the whole time too, fam. But go ahead. I want to hear what you got to say.
I'm just sitting here like, hey, listen, I understand like the enthusiasm that you have, and congrats on your Eagles being 6-0. But I'm just sitting here and I'm just like, okay, when did this transformation happen? Because this is the same person, my brother, who would call him Glenn Anton. Like, now you calling him Doc again? When did that change? So now.
Well, wait, what? No, it never changed.
Bro, no.
It never changed. I singled out Glenn
listen,
Rivers syndrome.
Let me finish. You called him Glenn Anton Rivers, and then you would also say he would coach you out of the game in the playoffs, and he would find a way to lose. I've heard you say it for multiple years, and you was always scared when it came down to the playoffs. So what's different now? Like, you gotta let me know. You gotta let me know the absinthe that you drinking. You gotta let me know the kush that you got. You know, like, you gotta let me know, because I need to, find me something else to like inebriate myself.
You are
put me in the know.
You are telling me that as a fan, I can't be excited about Doc Rivers this year?
I'm not telling you anything. I'm telling you what you've been saying to the people
in the past, last season. It's a new year. And that was the season before. This is a new year, Sam. Join me. It's a new year. We all about positivity this year.
So I should bask in your enjoyment because you my brother. You know
you
what?
should bask in the enjoyment that Doc Rivers is a top 15 coach of all time.
Oh, that's what we doing now?
I didn't say it. I didn't say it.
Chris, give yourself a point.
The NBA said it, Sam.
No,
not me.
I'm not. No, we've tried to convince you about Doc Rivers being, a top 15 coach for the last 3 years. But you would constantly say that Doc Rivers would do, or he would find a way to lose when it matters most. You was under the same conversation as a lot of Dallas Cowboys fans when they look at their projections. But like, I understand. You're optimistic this year. You're looking, hopeful at the sun this year. And I hope that it goes well for y'all because y'all have the squad to actually do it. And I'm not going to say that you don't. But I'm just saying, like, this new Chris, like, you got a haircut, you changed your weight, you changed your diet, now you're a pescatarian, like all
none of that's happened. I haven't lost any weight. My barber ghosted me. My barber broke up with me without sending me a text. Like, I had a haircut scheduled I go to the barber shop and he gone, and the dude who owns the shop be like, "Yo, he was 2 months behind on his check," and I'm
Hey,
sitting here
listen,
like,
I just ain't seen
Yo,
I
that
ain't
was
seen
rude.
as much optimism when
That
it
was rude.
came down
it
to your
was rude.
76ers, my friend,
It'll
in a
be
long
look.
time. And it's
I
okay.
what
Like, I get you.
I think what this is. I think this is really
I'm gonna
your Bulls and Lakers fandom coming through, realizing
Nah, it's not.
that you're going to struggle this year.
Hold
Hey,
on,
listen.
Chris. Hold on. He's
Hold on,
another 808 with 2 teams.
He's the original 2-team fan.
Hey, listen. You can never compare me to 808. That's not even in the conversation. But I'll just say, as my brother, I do appreciate your enthusiasm. I just have never seen this before. I ain't seen this side of you.
What are you talking about? That is such a farce. Don't believe Sam. I can be positive. I can look in the future and see great things too.
Okay, so now that you're clairvoyant, I hope that y'all have a great season this year, and I hope that y'all do everything that your team suggests that it can do, because y'all have the roster to do it, and y'all had the roster last year to do it. It just didn't come to fruition because of unforeseen, et cetera, et cetera. James Harden is looking physically in shape, and he's not looking like anybody's grandfather on the court that can still hoop, and the team is looking like it's gonna be able to do exactly what it can do. Y'all have the roster, y'all have the components. I've always believed in Doc Rivers since the Boston days, but I'm just surprised at you, Chris. You just got a new outlook on life. I don't know you no more. This that 10K. That's that 10K glow up. When you just
That
glow up,
10K
you just
glow up.
glow.
Wow.
10K glow up.
So what's hilarious is now I'm being told that because 10,000 people made the misfortune of following me for my bad food takes, that I am glowing up, when all I'm saying is it's a new season. There isn't a single game played, and this year, like the NBA came out and said it, Doc Rivers is a great coach. How great of a coach? Top 15 of all time. It's not me.
He was top 15 last year. What are you talking about?
He wasn't top 15 last year.
Where was he last year? Top 15.
Well, he wasn't top 15.
He didn't take no demotion.
No, here I put it out again. Like, this is what the NBA put out.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And that's
top
dope.
15.
You got a top 15 coach. I'm so happy for you. And we're just gonna see how it rock.
All right.
But I wish y'all nothing but success. Because you my brother and I love
Do
you.
you really mean?
Does he really mean it?
No, I
yeah,
really
he
mean
means
it
it
to him.
He
I
means
mean it to
yeah.
you, but I wish him and the 76ers much success, because this is my brother and I want to see him win. Period.
Yeah, there you go. Also wanting to see Matisse Thybulle learn how to be Bruce Bowen. Like, damn. Put on the tape.
Nice. That would be nice.
It's not hard, Matisse. There's plenty of tape of Bruce Bowen.
Without stepping on anybody's foot.
Yes, without stepping on anybody's foot. Like, literally just put on tape, watch Bruce Bowen. And if you can't be that, put on tape and be Tony Allen. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
All right,
Chris, I got a quick question.
What's up?
Somebody asked me this on Twitter the other day. How much, let me think. How high a percentage do you need to think he needs to go up? I say 5% on his three.
You mean Matisse?
Yeah, percentage. Like, he was 33.
He needs to hit 40 from the corner.
You want him to hit 40?
He needs to hit 40 from the corner.
That's too big of a jump, though, Chris.
From the corner. Like, that's what I'm saying. If you look at the tape of Bruce Bowen didn't start hitting threes at a high clip until he started hitting 40% from the corner.
He's going to be wide open. It's just whether he can knock him down, because it's not even a question.
Yeah,
he's going to be open.
he's gonna be wide open.
Yes.
Like, why? And that's another reason why they got PJ Tucker too, is because PJ Tucker shoots 40% from the corner three. And like you think by osmosis, as I was about to go to Justin, if you think about osmosis, perhaps he gets a little bit better this year by having another person who shoots corner threes. Because Furkman Korkmaz is a bomber, and he ain't a corner three shooter. and neither really is George Niang. He's more of a wing shooter. And by the way, he's available for trade. So if y'all want to send us, a another defensive shooting guard or power forward, we'll listen.
But I did find something out on the off season that he kept quiet that he was hurt in the playoffs. Why did he keep that quiet?
If you put it out there, it creates noise, and the noise is a distraction to the players.
But we're Philly. We're ripping your face off because you're not hitting the shots that you're hitting all year.
Yeah,
but now we find out in the first press conference of the year that I was hurt. Thanks for telling me.
Well, because you know exactly what would have happened if he said he was hurt. He'd be like, "Oh, look at the excuses," and then you don't win that battle either.
I mean, if you hurt, you're hurt. To me.
Not
all of us think like that.
Yeah, I know, because they still carry batteries.
Fans, I do have a question for both of you Philly fans.
Good.
All right, so for Maxey, James, and also Embiid, give me their points per game for the season. What's their average? Ballpark.
Embiid will get you 29, Maxey will get you 19, and Harden will get you 18.
Sounds like good numbers to me. Because nobody needs to go crazy because there's going to be so much scoring all over the place. We're going to be top. I think we're going to be top 3 to 4 in scoring this season. And that's when we don't go, when one person doesn't go crazy. I'm talking about like a Maxey 35 or a Harden 35 or Embiid 40.
A lot of it will be dependent upon Joel Embiid. Is he in a position to understand that he doesn't need to take centers off the dribble from the 3-point line? If we can do that, we'll be fine. This was crazy. All right, we've got Mark Edwards of Monstar Labs, one of the best trainers in the game, whose recent student just signed a wonderful contract extension. So we want to give him first a round of applause. He's told it before. His job isn't to fundamentally change a person. His job is to give a person the tools they need to fundamentally change themselves for the better. And there's very, very, very few people who are on the plateau of high that Mark Edwards is. He is one of the most phenomenal coaches that you can have independently. So make sure you shoot out Monstar Labs if you're looking for some basketball training. He goes coast to coast. Mark, you're with us hopefully now.
Yeah.
I know that you had some connection point. Good morning,
brother.
We're here. We back.
Thank
NBA
God.
is here. Let's chop into it.
Thank God.
Right? Like how long can we have waited, man? Like this NFL stuff is just it's garbage. It is pure garbage.
Hey.
Eagles fan.
Hey.
What?
It's Eagles not garbage.
Oh, bro, I'm still living the Bronco Colts, fallout because my aunt is a diehard Colts fan. She still hasn't gotten over that game. Like it was just dead. That's why we're happy the NBA is back, and that's why we're happy we could talk with Mark Edwards of Monstar Labs. All right, let's just go with the Sixers because we're already there. I happen to like the Sixers, right? Why you gotta start out laughing, man?
I heard a funny joke last night. I'm just remembering it. Yeah, that's it. That's the story I'm going with.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I like it.
Share, man. Share. We want to hear the joke.
No, we don't.
So, this belief in Joel Embiid is, to me, it's kind of crazy because, and it's crazy. One of my good friends trains him, Drew Hamlin, and if Joel Embiid can show me that he can play on the block this year, I'll believe in the Sixers. Other than that, I don't. Because, as Chris mentioned, and he and I have had multiple conversations about this, and if people actually watch the game, they'll actually notice this one singular thing about his game is that he starts out on the wing and then will dribble his defender down into the post, and at that point, he's probably the best finisher in the NBA under the basket because he's going to finish or get fouled. The problem with that is Philly last year was in the upper echelon of 3-point shooting percentage, right? The problem is they're in the bottom of the NBA at attempts. So they're losing points because they're not getting enough attempts because they don't have a down low presence that will kick it back out to them. What happens is when you throw the ball down, somebody has to double. So that gives your guy an opportunity to what they call shake up, which means move to another spot on the floor and get wide open 3-point opportunity attempts. So he doesn't do that for his team, and he has some elite shooters. You think about it. Think about the elite shooters he's lost. He lost Seth Curry. Seth Curry is like, I think, number 3 or 4 all time as far as 3-point shooting percentage. You lost JJ Redick, one of the better shooters in NBA history. I think he's JJ's top 5, top 10 as far as shooting percentage, not makes or whatever percentage. I think he's up there in makes anyway. So when you lose shooters like that, that's a problem. Tyrese Maxey can be an amazing catch-and-shoot guy for that team if he just knows what Joel is going to do. But a lot of times when Joel goes into his movements going down low and attacking the basket, guys will just stand around and look rather than move to open spots where they can get open threes. And that's where I think he hurts his team. I think it's a little bit selfish. I spoke to Drew last year about that, and he said to me, last year was the first year they ever started working on moves on the block. So he didn't do it a lot last year because he wasn't comfortable. Hopefully this summer, that's what they did. I haven't spoken to him. It's crazy because I'm actually working with one of his guys today while he's out of town in LA. So I'll probably talk to him sometime this week about it, or later on today, actually. So that's my worry. Another thing about Philly. Okay, so does anybody want to address that issue right there? Any Philly fans?
I was just thinking about what you're saying because we have been horrific at just getting the ball to them. We were horrible getting the ball in the post. They either throwing bad passes, not throwing it high enough, not throwing low enough. So that was a problem. So when he thinks he can't get the ball, he goes from the block to the 3-point line, which is so annoying. Like, you don't have to hold your ground and wait for them to give you a good pass. So he does do that a lot. So when you said it, I was like, ding, 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 ding. That's so annoying that he does that. But it's him being impatient that he can't wait for the entry pass.
So think about it. He compares himself, and his movements are comparable, well, slightly comparable, to Hakeem Olajuwon when Hakeem Olajuwon developed that dream shake. You know what I'm saying? All those movements. He's not as light on his feet as Hakeem was, but he definitely has those movements. He makes them happen. The reason the Rockets won back-to-back championships is not only because of Hakeem, but when you had to double down Hakeem kicked it out to Sam Cassell, Kenny Smith, Mario Illy, Robert Horry, you know what I'm saying? And those guys made a record number of 3-pointers. So that's, to me, is the difference with the Sixers, with Embiid. If they're to win, he has to spend a little bit more time on the block because, everybody thought, well, when James Harden comes in, they'll be able to run pick and roll. Well, he doesn't want to roll. He wants to pop. So with him rolling to the basket, what that does is shrinks the defense because you got to pay attention to him, big Joel Embiid running down the middle of the lane or down the side of the lane or whatever. So guys have to step in. That leaves shooters open, and there's a possibility for Harden to find other players. But he won't roll to the basket. He wants to pop all the time, which keeps guys in somewhat of a zone, which negates the shooters. So that, to me, is the biggest issue with Joel Embiid. Now, that's not saying he's not going to get his 29 points, 12 rebounds, and 4 assists. But if those numbers don't equal up to winning, they're empty stats in my opinion.
Yeah, the one thing that also annoys me is that he does think he's a guard at times. And like you could see it when James Harden wasn't on the court. He would try to direct the offense from the perimeter, and that's what got me. I think, however, this season will be a little bit different. I think he's going to be forced to have to actually play down low, and I think it's really because of the emergence of Tyrese Maxey. I think Harden's best ability and where he plays out of position of comfort, being at a 45 on the wing, Tyrese Maxey is also more comfortable at a 45 on the wing. So both players don't want to play heads up in front, and that's going to cut half the court or a third of the court off, forcing Joel down low more. Is it enough? I don't know, but I'm with you. I would say if he were to get 20 touches for shots, at least 14 should be down low on the block with the entry pass. Because if you give him 14, he's going to go at least 7 for 14, right? That's 14 points. Those 7 that he misses, more likely going to end up in free throws. He's probably going to hit 6 out of 7 for them. So that's going to give him 20 points. And then he hits 2 threes, he's at 26. We're going to pick up Mark back in a moment. He had a phone call. We'll go to Al and Sam. Go ahead.
Hey, real quick, too, I think the addition of Tucker will help with those type of things. He can see he has somebody small on him, or he's coming out too far. Yo, what are you doing? Get low, those type of things. And he's going to respect Tucker because he knows the knowledge that Tucker has. So now Harden is saying it, Tucker is saying it, and then of course Doc should be saying it. So those things, but I think Tucker's going to be so huge for this team. I'm talking about defensively, I'm talking about offensively, spreading the floor, leadership. I mean, he brings so much to this team that we took from Miami that I think everybody is underestimating what just him. I ain't even talking about all the other additions he's going to bring to this team. And I'm not even talking about right now. I'm talking about when we get to the playoffs and have all this knowledge during the season. I'm really, really excited what this team can be.
So another issue you guys brought up was y'all talked about Tobias Harris. So, Tobias, I like Tobias. He came out 2010 class in high school, so I'm very familiar with him. Tobias Harris is what the legendary person Stringer Bell calls a 40-degree day. Nobody gets excited about a 40-degree day. 17 points a game does not excite me. So while you guys are praising, if we can get 17 points from him in the playoffs, we're good.
But boss, we don't need him to score 25.
No, you do need him sometime to explode and go for 25 because guess what? The scouting report is gonna be shut down. Embiid, slow down Harden, and let's not let the young boy Maxey get off. Okay, but let's talk about
We need him to hit the open shots that he's going to have.
Yeah,
and he's going to have plenty.
With them 17 points a game, and then guys, okay, so it was him that said he was hurt in the playoffs. Was it him that said that in the press conference?
No, that wasn't him. Who
was that? Who was that said it was hurt last year in the playoffs?
That was
George Niang.
Niang, yeah.
George Niang needs to stop crying because he could have kept that. He could have kept that. Nobody cares. That's another 40-degree moment.
Chris, give him a bell for that, please.
Like, who cares? So what I'm saying is the NBA has a 100% injury rate. Everybody's hurt. Unless you're injured and cannot participate, man, you better suck it up and play ball. That's why you're paid millions of dollars. Your job is to entertain us and try to win the championship and so forth. You can't come 4 months later and say, well, I was hurt. Oh, so? You know what I'm saying? Like, why was that brought up? Like, that was one of those points where you're like, I don't care. So these 40-degree moments, like, they got to stop. These 40-degree players and 40-degree moments, they got to stop because nobody cares.
Well, I liken Tobias Harris to a breezy 55-degree, partly sunny day.
You can barbecue sometimes on a 55-degree day in Philly. Right?
Exactly.
I don't know about that.
Let's Sam hop in here with his thought, and then I got another question, this time centered around Boston, as that is who Philadelphia is going to play. And we'll recap our preview real quick. Lakers and Warriors after that with Mark Edwards. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Mark, what up, bro?
What up, man?
I got a quick question. So, in everything that you've seen in your training, like, in this season, like, being on the cusp of, everything that's happening, do you see like a new trend that players are now starting to do that's going to actually change the way that we look at positions and some of these things that are going forward? Or is everybody trying to just really just knuckle down and just bury down into the actual kind of state of ball?
So what's happening right now, the new trend in the NBA is one of the newer trends is really being able to extend your 3-point range. That's one we saw that with Steph, we saw that with Dame, we saw that with Trey, but now they're expecting guys to be able to shoot it from further out and have more efficiency. So that's a main thing. Also, the mid post has been a skill set that guys are really focusing on. Even the smaller players, the guards or whatever, is be able to get a guy in the mid post. Everything depends on paint touches with the NBA. Paint touches, because guys play a lot of zone defense. So if that's the situation, that you want to shrink the defense, and get them, clogged into the lane or whatever, so guys are open for threes. Also, extending range on your jump shot is a major thing. So last season, one of the gyms I train out of is called Proactive. It's called Proactive. It's in Agora Hills, Westlake area in California, and it's real exclusive. And CAA is like one of the sponsors or owners or partners of the gym. So Karl Anthony Towns trains there on a regular basis. Paul George trains there. So we're always in there talking junk, and all CAA agents, clients or whatever. So last season when I was working with Jordan Poole on extending the range on his shot, we had a thing where he would take 2 dribbles past half court and just shoot it from wherever he shot it from. Sometimes 1 dribble past half court as he was sprinting through half court, and people would just stop and just look. They'd be like, "Well, why are they doing that? That's a far shot. Like, is he trying to make him into Steph Curry?" And then they started seeing him make those shots 3, 4, 5 in a row. And I remember Paul George standing there with the owner on a bike, watching us work out, ball handling, everything. And a few minutes later, they walked through the court, and then the owner came back and was like, "Yo, we got to have you at the gym. We need you here. Like, everybody's talking about you, blah, blah, blah." I was like, "Okay, we'll have a conversation." Now, fast forward to this year in the off season, Karl Anthony Towns, who last year was hurt most of the summer, so he couldn't really go hard. This year, his range on his jumper is where we were shooting from last year. PG is shooting the same thing. So now everybody in the gym is working on those threes, and they're working on mid post. So that's the growing trend I've seen as far as skill set development that I think will be more prevalent in the NBA this year. Especially, like, I'm gonna tell you, Karl Anthony Towns has got a real serious cannon on him as far as range, consistency on his jumper. Like, he's amazing when he's healthy, and he was healthy most of the summer. So I think those are the 2 things we're going to see, which is kind of like continues from last year. But I think you'll see more players trying to do this, because think about this, guys. The NBA is getting longer as far as lengthwise, as far as the players' height and length. It's getting longer, so you have to be able to spread the floor, because these guys can recover and get to you from the normal 3-point line. So if you can extend the defense and get them out there, so you guys have those openings and places to maneuver, then it's tough to beat a team like that.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think the next team we're going to talk about is actually a perfect representation of that, and that's the Boston Celtics. And unfortunately for them, that player that is the anchor of their defense now just went under a PRP procedure yesterday, Robert Williams III. And if you don't remember, that's the blood plasma recirculative treatment to help the healing process. This is going to delay his return. I said it last year. I hate saying it. He put his career on the line to give the Boston Celtics a chance to win a championship. And I do not know if we will ever see like 100% healthy Robert Williams III ever again. Right now, you're looking at a potential, quote, December, January timeline, but then followed behind that, talking to a beat reporter, said that they're looking second half of the season. So, unfortunately, that does put a huge amount of pressure on the Boston Celtics because they were looking to potentially repeat as Eastern Conference champions behind the ever increasingly getting better duo of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. To me, this kind of puts a clock on Brad Stevens. Mark, is there anything you can see already within Boston's, practicing habits that they can do to adjust to accommodate the loss of Robert Williams? What are your thoughts on them? And then we'll spend a couple of minutes going over the 3 hours to talk some Los Angeles Lakers and Golden State Warriors. Because I think I think no one can stop the Warriors, and I think you agree.
Yeah, the Warriors definitely are going to be a juggernaut this year, despite all the the shenanigans that went on a few weeks ago. With Boston, the biggest improvement the Celtics needed to make was one simple thing, and that is with their superstar player, Jason Tatum. He needs to be able to catch and shoot more rather than going to the 3-4-5 dribble combos because it looks robotic. And what happens is he stays in one place when he does all these combos. You know what I'm saying? So now if I'm a defender, if I got a nice strong stance, I know he's going to beat me right or left because I'm going to do to him what the Celtics did to Kevin Durant, which is I'm going to have someone playing gap defense on my right and on my left, which means there's possibly a defender stunting on either side of him. So when he does drive left or drive right, if he catches you with a hesitation move, there's somebody there to at least contest. And if they're able to contest or kind of clog him from driving to the hole, he has to make that pass. But who else on the team shoots great threes other than Jaylen Brown? And he doesn't shoot a high percentage. So for Jason Tatum, if you watched him in the Golden State series, the games where he went off were games where he hit a lot of catch and shoot threes, where he didn't waste any motion. He just caught the ball and raised up into his shot, which is very efficient for him. And I know his trainer, Drew Hanlen, got a lot of, notes and conversation and hate and whatever for all those movements. And I've talked about it, like you put so many of his movements online that as a defender, I just have to look at Drew Hanlen's page and look at all of Tatum's favorite movements because you put all of them online. And I get to watch game tape, so I know when he feels uncomfortable, when they're doing this movement, this play, this set, he likes to do this move, this move, this move. So they were able to just watch him and bump him, and he was tired. You know why he was tired? Because of all that wasted energy and all that dribbling. So if he could become more efficient, that's going to help them, get back until Robert Williams get there. So now one comment about the PRP thing. With PRP, you usually can do that. And that helps you within a week or two. So the fact that they're saying he's going to be out until the midseason means he has to do multiple PRP, procedures or whatever. He has to do multiple. And the fact is, they thought that he could heal over the summer or that they could rehab him and his knees would get better. They should have did that off the rip because that's what Karl-Anthony Towns did after the season. He went on vacation. He came back. And he was a spring chicken. So I think the Celtics organization messed up with that one.
Yeah. I kind of was wondering the same thing. Why the hell he wait so long?
The PRP stands for platelet-rich plasma. It's an injection. Kobe Bryant was probably the first in the NBA to do it. Dwayne Wade has done it. LeBron James has done it. It's getting to be more popular. And like Mark said, this is something, and actually I've had it. This is something that started out to be a transactional medical procedure where it's like kind of like a epidural, right? There's specific uses for it and reasons for it. And now we're seeing somebody who is still going to be out long term. And I'm not even lying. I'm not expecting him to play. I hate saying this, but like there's a difference between the 6'9", 6'10", 250-pound body and somebody who's 6'7", 210 or 6'4", 205, right? That's a lot of torque. That's a lot of pressure. So I just hope he gets healthy because he was phenomenal for Boston's run into the finals. And I don't think they can repeat off the back of Al Horford being your main big defender. Up next, also tonight, to close out the doubleheader on NBA on TNT, Golden State and the Lakers. And I tell you what, if you don't like Golden State, you're just going to have to keep not liking them because they're not going to not be good for a very long time. My pick of the sleeper picks of the draft is here on the pro level. That is Moses Moody. I think he's going to be a phenomenal player. When they drafted him, I said that they are literally going to stick that kid in the G League and he's going to dominate for nothing. Why? Because they already have Andrew Wiggins. They already have Klay Thompson. They already have Steph Curry. They already have Jordan Poole. Like they picked up Dante DiVincenzo. Like what JaMychal Green had a 20-piece easy. Like, what else do they need to have? What can we give the Warriors so that it makes it that much easier for you to repeat as NBA champions? We'll go to Danny D, Warriors fan du jour, and get her take. We'll go to Sam to talk some Lakers. We'll hear Al, and then we'll close up with one of the best trainers in the game, Mark Edwards. Thank you, everybody. Good morning.
Can I go? I'm on my lunch. So
yes, that was your cue. That was your cue.
Good morning, Chris. Good morning, everybody. I'm gonna be professional today and not gonna be my crazy self. I'll save that for the show later on in the evening. But it's gonna be a beautiful night. The Lakers might shock us. They may win tonight. Who never knows? Stranger things have happened. It's ring night. But the rich keep on getting richer. My team is good. Stop praying for our downfall. Y'all thought a little punch was going to kind of mess us up. We professionals. We about winning chips, not having a little fuss and ticks and not joining the huddle and faking hamstring injuries and talking about players are probable. Because he told y'all that back wasn't right. But okay. I mean, tomato. It's going to be a great season. A lot of great teams going to make moves. Sixers going to make some moves. I mean, if y'all want to put people in corners and pray that they make threes, go ahead and do that. Tell your center to stay in the 5 spot. But anyway, that either here or there, because Anthony Davis definitely doesn't want to play the 5. That's a whole nother story for another day. But I'm looking forward to the PBJ movement. Looking forward to the Moody movement. I'm ready to have more pool parties, and I can't even swim. But I'm ready to have more pool parties. I'm ready to fly high with my Defensive Player of the Year, Andrew Wiggins. Mark that down. And I'm just ready for tonight. It's going to be tacos and tequila tonight. I'm going to make it tomorrow, but it'll be tacos and tequilas. That's all I got to say tonight. I'll be turned up to the floor up. And thank you. And I know my job was real because they gave me a badge and it worked. So there we go.
Well, you know what? Everybody give Danny D a round of applause. Congratulations on the new job. We will miss you here in the morning. We are happy you can hop in on lunch and hold down Warriors Nation, Dubs Twitter. Shout out to TJ Kiesel, also Dubs fan. 30 and Dubs, also a Dubs fan. There's a lot of y'all. Thick Church Girl, a.k.a. Nikki, Dubs fan. Brandon, Dubs fan. The Rubric. Check it out. How many more Dubs fans are there? Like, y'all have spaces that go on 8 hours to like 4 in the morning. Man, crazy stuff. All right, Sam, Lakers, AD, is he toying with us? Is he just saying, oh, my back is a little sore just to play with the media and play with the minds of Golden State? Because I actually have him pegged to have a turnaround season. 2 years, he has not finished above 55 games. I think this is a year he hit 60. And I think the Lakers can be dangerous if he does play 60 games. What do you think?
I definitely think that the Lakers would be dangerous if he plays 60 games. It's just like I'm a little more pessimistic than optimistic, but at the same time, like I'm not finna have Miss Danny come in here and just give all her colloquialisms and just skate out like everything is just gonna be cool and dandy. Like the Warriors got some things that they still need to, I understand that they're in a situation where they're a juggernaut, and I understand that the rich keep getting richer, but like hold your britches because stranger things, like you said, have happened. It's not just necessarily on opening night, but at the same time, like the last person that punched me in the face, I ain't never forgave them, and I was in the 3rd grade. So if I see him, it's still problems on sight. So I'm just saying, like, I don't know how exactly grown men get over those type of things, but I'm just not built from that, and that's just a Chicago thing. But just in looking at where we are, like, yes, the Lakers and the Warriors are sitting on 2 stark differences, especially in philosophies and especially in the way that the organizations are being headed right now. But at the same time, like the Lakers are still dangerous. It's the alligator that you don't want to roll on you, and like, yeah, we can do some things. So I'm just looking forward to a good game tonight. I'm looking for LeBron to still be spry. I'm looking for AD to like emerge and like be the person that we thought that he was going to continue to be on a continuous basis after the bubble. I'm looking for all of our young guys to come, with the Lonnie Walkers, and we're just looking forward. And we brought some people back, and we brought some people new, and we got some toughness, and we got a different energy. So I'm looking forward to just seeing all of that on full display tonight. And I don't necessarily know if Russell. Well, I won't say that. Russell not necessarily being in the starting lineup and maybe not playing tonight is probably a good problem to have, but at the same time, it's something that we still got to deal with, and it's not going to go away anytime soon. So, okay, y'all get y'all rings, but be ready for a fight.
All right, I like it. Warren's going to pop up here. Al, is there anything you want to add in real quick? And then we're going to go to Warren real fast. We'll close out with Mark Edwards' thoughts on tonight's premier game between the Warriors and the Lakers.
Not really. The only problem I have, I can't put my full attention to the game tonight because the Phillies started at the same time. But I'm just ready for this season. I'm very excited. So let's get it.
All right. Warren, what's up, man? It's good to hear you. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you shoot Warren a follow. He was with us day one on Clubhouse. He's been with us every day since then that he can pop in here. Big things in for him. Like, he just finished his Masters, and we're very happy and excited for him. Die-hard Nets fan, too. So if you need some Nets in your life, make sure you shoot him a follow. Warren, good morning.
Good morning, Chris. It's good to be back. It's been a little while, and thank you for the lovely intro. But yeah, looking forward to this season. This marks 25 years of me being a Nets fan. I've seen everything. From
Sorry to hear that.
Going to back-to-back NBA Finals to starting 0-18. I've lived through it all, and so I don't know. Just hoping for the best. Unlike the previous 2 years, I'm not predicting us to go to the finals. Just want to see a complete, cohesive team. Everyone on the same page. Ben Simmons, my only concern with him is not even the shooting. But he must make his free throws. He must make his free throws. I don't care if he shoots from the outside. I don't care if he shoots threes. He has to make his free throws, because there will come a point in time, be it in the regular season or in the postseason, where he will need to make two or one of two free throws or both free throws in a pressure situation. And he has to find a way to overcome whatever mental block he has at the free throw line. But beyond that, we'll see what happens, how this year plays out. I know, Chris, I think you had mentioned yesterday the biggest offseason move was Rudy Gobert. I will disagree and say the biggest offseason move was made by Joe Tsai when he convinced Kevin Durant in late August to come back and, to come back in the fold and, let's get this thing started again, because the Nets were staring at Armageddon for about 7 weeks over the course of the summer. And hell, we might still face Armageddon next summer, depending upon how things play out this year. But hoping for all the best, wishing everyone a happy NBA return, and it should be a fun season.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% with you, and I appreciate you coming through. And I know you're going to be able to come up, especially when Ben Simmons doesn't hit those free throws, and share your exuberative frustration. Up next, we're going to give Rolo a quick hitter here so he can get his take, and also preview 77 Spaces' upcoming episode with the debut of a new look Mavs squad behind Luka Doncic, Spencer Dinwiddie, and one Christian Wood. Rolo, good morning. How you doing?
Hey, Chris. Good morning, man. I've just been listening to everything, and I'm glad the NBA is finally back. Anybody who follows the NFL, fuck the NFL. Let's go ahead and just watch basketball, guys. Basketball season is in full effect. I just wanted to come up real quick, say I'm glad the Mavs are still flying under the radar. Everybody has the Mavs as a play-in team, as a fringe playoff team. So it's perfect for us and for the agenda there. But other than that, man, I'm hyped for the new season. I'm hyped for bench warmers, and definitely, if you guys want to pop into the best damn Mavs pregame space, we'll be having the Mavs 77 Spaces tomorrow, an hour before the show. I think it's 7 p.m. Central. So thanks a lot, Chris, man. I appreciate you all the time. All the content that you've been providing over the summer. and everything, and look forward to Hoop Spaces in the new NBA season.
Thank you, Rolo. And like I said before, I'm very appreciative of everything you and Jose and Jazz have been able to put together, proving to the people that this works. We open up these rooms, we open up our lives, we open up our passion for the love of the game, and we share that passion in an inclusive environment, trying to be non-toxic. Because let's be honest, we all know Twitter is pretty damn toxic, and what we are is what somebody told me, a breaker. We are a island above the storm, and I'm happy that a lot of y'all who have reached out and told me so. That's exactly what we were looking for. Al, final take before we head over to Mark so we can get his thoughts on the Warriors and Lakers tonight.
Hey, just a comment on what he just said. Hey, first of all, football is not trash, and I take it personal that you think so about my great sport of football. But second of all, how you guys just act like losing Brunson is no big deal, and y'all just gonna go about it y'all business and be as good as y'all was last year? Why everybody in Dallas taking that so lightly?
Well, see,
I don't understand
that is why you need to actually head into 77 Spaces tomorrow, 7 p.m. I believe Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, leading up to the game. Boom.
Yeah, I definitely need to hear that because I need somebody to explain that to me in Dallas. You lose Brunson, and first of all, you shouldn't have let him walk, and then y'all just act like y'all just gonna go back to where y'all was and business as usual.
You should have kept up with 77 Spaces during the off season. They had a wonderful entire special about it. They actually even had a guest speaker who literally just talked about nothing but that. There you go. All right.
No comment, my man. You ain't saying that.
Well, no, because I'm setting it up so you to go for tomorrow, and then we're gonna move to Mark. All right. I appreciate everybody who's made it in. We are 16 minutes over, but we're gonna go as long as Mark wants to talk. Thank you for making any part of your day part of Hoop Spaces. We are grateful. If you can do us a favor, if you haven't liked the people up on stage, like all the people who provided value. That's what we've tried to create this community for. Also, if you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe to the free newsletter. It's just called the Hoop Spaces Review. Might be working out a deal with the actual company review to get some more eyes on it. And that leads me to this. If you are a writer, if you are a content creator, and you are already established, like we can't take the time to establish something necessarily and build this up. But if you already have your content and you are looking for a home about the NBA, consider possibly coming here. We've got the ability to put your content written on the website. In the newsletter, we have the ability to put a YouTube up here to get multimedia presence, and we will have more as we grow. And with that, to make this all free, to keep it free, eventually I'm going to have super follows, and I'm going to ask now, and I'll ask then, if we do provide value and have provided value, to step up and be willing to find $5 a month to become a super follow so that we can grow and actually challenge the larger narrative voices that already are pre-existing with your voice. Because, yeah, I'm talking a lot. It's because I'm the host. But Mark has just dropped gems. Warren came out, shared his passion. Sam has been going back and forth now with Danny. Al's bringing the whole energy of Philadelphia to us. Rel, she's down below. And my apologies for speaking wrong gender. She is ready, taking part in a huge back and forth with Pelicans Twitter versus everybody else, because that's what the Pels are about. Like, we are here because of you, and we are wanting to grow because of you, so we can give you the material and content that you want. All right, so that's my ask, and I'm going to ask again in the future, but we're going to close out with the words of somebody who knows more about basketball than everybody here in the room combined right now. That's Mark. Mark Edwards, a.k.a. Seafood, the master of the shot. I want to know, when you look at this opening night, with all the work you've put in, you've seen your dude get the chip, what can we expect from year 2 of the Jordan Poole era? Because I think it's here. I've said it before. I love Clay. I'm at the point where I'm strongly considering playing Jordan Poole as a starter. That's just me. Mark, what are your thoughts on Golden State and Los Angeles tonight?
Well, first off, in regards to I know my man said, he thinks it's going to be hard for the cohesiveness to be there with the team because of the incident with Jordan, and Jordan's a tough kid. He's from Milwaukee. His family is Chicago. So and my man is from Chicago, so he kind of knows what happens when situations like that occur with loved ones. Phone calls were made and so on and so forth. And let's be clear, Jordan, kept kept their heads cool, and he understands this is a business, and it's like, we don't have to be friends off the court, but we're still teammates, and we're here to for a common goal, which is to win a championship. And for him to be so young and to be so mature and see things that way, I just have to give him kudos for that, because a lot of us would have just lost our minds. We'd have tore up a locker room, and he did none of that. After the situation happened, composed himself, and he worked out for extra 2 hours, after the situation. So if that doesn't show that he's the consummate professional at a young age, I don't know what else does. And the fact that, the understanding was, they've been working on this deal since last year. So you look at someone who not this time last year, actually probably in December of last year, the numbers were like, okay, we want to offer you 4 years, $70 million. And he ended up getting 4 years, $140 million. So, that man doubled his worth in a year's time, in less than a year's time. And so you got to give him love for that. As far as organization, they love Jordan. As far as organization, Andrew Wiggins and Jordan spent the summer in the gym together, working side by side. It's crazy. Wiggins and his trainer on one court, myself and Jordan on another court, working, and then they come back in and work together late at night. Jordan was doing 4 workouts a day. We created a bunch of new movements. So guys, they saw the in and out, then behind the back, throw up, floater or whatever. That's nothing we practiced. That's just Jordan being an artist. When you are a basketball player, you hope and pray to be as creative and have as much talent as a guy like a Jordan Poole, a Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, a Kyrie Irving, who's Mozart of this game right now. So to see these guys be able to do what they love and get paid a king's ransom doing it, like, we can't hate on that. We can only hope them success and just enjoy the show. I don't know that they'll be at their best tonight, because this is a very emotional night. This was, if you notice, Steph Curry cried last year after they won, because so many things were said about him. So many things were said about the organization. You look back at the announcers who said, Andrew Wiggins was the stupidest thing they've ever done. Steph Curry will never get back to the championship. Draymond Green, you're done. You're a triple single. You're this, you're that. Jordan Poole is a G League guy. Klay Thompson will never play again. They overcame all these things. It was so emotional. And the fact that they got through that, and they got through it in an era of social media that is probably 100 times more vicious than what Michael Jordan went through when he did his last three-peat.
All right, he might have just cut out a little bit because he probably lost signal. And he was cooking too, so we'll keep him up. Hopefully he comes back in.
Chris, that's a super follow right there.
Yeah,
He's phenomenal.
Absolutely.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, no, I mean, if he had 10K followers and was eligible, I would already be paying him $5. Like, I every time that we have talked basketball, whether it's here in public in spaces or back channel or private, like, I learned so much, and I think I'm actually fairly knowledgeable for somebody who doesn't teach and play the game. And every time we talk, it's deep and it's introspective. Hopefully, he probably got a call or drop signal. He can come back. Al, anything you're looking forward to in the Golden State Warriors and Lakers? Actually, sorry, not the Golden State Warriors, but the Lakers part. Because what Mark was saying kind of also bodes true for the Lakers. A lot of people have already discounted them and written them off, including yourself, myself, because when I look at the team in its totality, I don't see how it's sustainable for as long as they have Russell Westbrook on the roster. Anything you're looking forward to or needing to see from the Lakers?
I mean, obviously, health. That's huge for them. Anthony Davis. I mean, I heard at some point he twisted his ankle on one, and at some practice, and now the back. Like, dude, really already? Like, we didn't even get 20 games in. Like, the stuff is just crazy with him. So obviously, health. I don't see the downfall that everybody else see. I know what happened last year, but it's a lot that went into that. So the Westbrook thing, dude, they should have just moved on. Now they're keeping him. He could be cancerous. He's got like a nonchalant attitude from me, from the East Coast. It seems like he's kind of nonchalant, but I think they're going to succeed beyond expectations more than everybody. I think they're not going to just be like we're going to be a 10th seed and barely making it to the playoffs. I think they're going to shock some people.
All right.
I know a lot of other people don't think that, but we're talking about LeBron, dude. He's just not going to just let this happen unless he goes down again. Then
All right.
again, you can't control that.
We got Mark back, I believe. Mark, you were cooking, man. 100% correct. 100% correct on the Michael Jordan era, not having social media, and the Golden State Warriors going through something that was 100 times at least in more scrutiny in a way. Go ahead and pick up where you remember, and we'll keep it rolling. Yeah, we got you.
I'm sorry. What was the last thing you heard me say?
The last thing you had said, you were comparing Michael Jordan, the era of the Bulls and the lack of social media versus what Golden State has had to go through this offseason.
Wow, I went through a whole thing after that. Well, yeah. I think for Golden State, to be able to get through this year and try to go back to back is probably going to be one of the most difficult things, that they've ever faced. Last year was difficult, but this year will be even more difficult because now you have a deeper West than ever before. Phoenix is still back. The Lakers they're not a worry because I'm afraid of Anthony Davis's his back issues, his physical ability. If you guys watch him when he first came in the league and while he's with the Pelicans, if you watch him how he walked, you look at the bounce in the step, the gait in which he ran with, it's a totally different thing. He rumbles down the court now. It's not a smooth movement, which is why he doesn't want to play down low, which is why he wants to play more on the perimeter. He wants to be more of a European style pick and pop skill guy, and get some dunks, here and there where he can get in space or whatever. He doesn't want the injury. So for the Lakers, if he can play 55 games this year, and most of that being on the tail end of the season where he'll be prepared for the playoffs, I think that'll be a win for them. But I still don't think they survive the West. Denver is back. Like the Dallas Mavericks, yes, they lost Brunson, but they added a new improved Luka who came into camp, a lot lighter. And that happens when you're able to play that level of summer ball that he played, this year. So he's coming back a lot more skillful. I've watched a lot of his movements. He looks amazing. He's learned a few things about his game. He's playing with more contact, playing through contact. His shot is still his shot. His creativeness is still there. And then you add Christian Wood in there, who is going to help them possibly off the bench once he learns the system. He might be a starter at the end of the year. Phoenix is still Phoenix. You still got Chris Paul and D Book. D Book is family. Like, I can't root against him at all. So I don't know about the Lakers coming out of the West at all. I look at them at best as a 5th or 6th seed at best. And of course, I think Golden State will, win the West, but it's going to be tough because of all the scrutiny. Because I'm hoping it doesn't happen, but it could happen. Damn near every game they have on national television, the Draymond Jordan Poole situation could pop up. It could pop up. And is that going to be a distraction? It could be, because in their facility, the way their practice facility is, you have the two courts, and then as you walk towards your entrance of the building, on the two courts, it's glass. It's the offices, front offices. So everybody's in there, and every television set is on, and it's a sports show. It's ESPN or Fox or whatever. So I don't know if they'll be petty and stupid enough to replay that over and over every time there's a big game, or what happens if Golden State goes on a losing spree and they lose 3 games in a row, which is going to be rare. Are they going to replay that? Is that going to be a distraction to the players? So with all this media, all this social media swirling around this team mentally, it's a different level of determination they're going to have, and there's going to have a different level of leadership they're going to have. And I think Clay's going to have to step up a little bit more in his leadership role. I don't want to take Clay off the court and have him as sixth man, because I know Clay is a rhythm guy. Once he gets in that rhythm, he's crazy with it. I think Jordan has learned to be able to be I'm a score whenever you give me playing time type of guy. Like I'm gonna be a microwave type of guy, and if I get extended minutes, I'm gonna go crazy. So for me, that seeds for Golden State to be a great team for years to come. But I don't see anything super magical happening tonight. If it does happen, I'll be shocked, because it's going to be such an emotional roller coaster when they get those rings. Like, it's going to be crazy. I'll be shocked if we don't see at least 1 or 2 players cry, and Draymond being one of them. You know what I'm saying? Because of all that's happened. He has a lot going on personally. People make mistakes. Jordan Poole is his young boy. Jordan Poole is his rookie. So that's his rook. And if you guys don't understand what that means when Jordan came into the league, Draymond had to take him under the wing and teach him everything about being an NBA player. And as a rookie, if you don't get a good vet, which is what they call a guy like Draymond, that's my vet. If you don't get a good vet, you could be lost in this league. Draymond asked for Jordan's locker to be put right next to his. So on one side of the locker room, you got Draymond, you got Jordan Poole, you got Iggy, you got Steph Curry, you got Klay Thompson. So that's royalty on one side of the locker room. You got Kevon Looney. You know what I'm saying? All the most elite guys are on one side, and they have a camaraderie that is usually unshaken. But Draymond's going through a lot, and I could see him just losing it for a second. But he's apologetic, but he's still a proud dude. You know what I'm saying? So I think they'll play through this. I think they could be the ultimate professionals and fight through this together, man. And if they do, we got to look at them as being one of the best band of brothers we've seen ever. And if they don't, they still got a championship out of it. So fireworks I expect. I don't know what magical we'll see, but I'm hoping for it.
All right, and then with the Lakers as well, because they kind of fit this narrative where people are saying that they can't do it, they're over, they're washed. It's a little bit different because their main protagonist is closer to the end of his career than Steph Curry. But the second person who's supposed to be anchoring the Lakers' attack here over the last 2 years just unfortunately hasn't been able to stay healthy. This is a year that they give Rob Pelinka a contract extension. To me, this is all signs that LeBron is in LA for two more years, at least. What can we expect from the Lakers? Like, is this really? Are they trying to be too smart here? Are they like teetering on the collapse of infinitesimal proportion? Because I'm starting to see a repeat of last year. If Anthony Davis misses any time, what have the Lakers done in the offseason to make them better?
That's a problem for me with the Lakers. What Westbrook did the other day on national television was an embarrassment. It was also a show of frustration. You have a guy like Pat Beverly calling the huddle, and he came in there, and within 2 months, now all of a sudden he's a team leader. Whereas Westbrook was trying to be a team leader last year, and they're responding to Patrick Beverly, and they weren't responding to Westbrook last year. I think he just gave us a silent protest, get me out of here. You guys don't value me and so forth. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of things going on underneath the covers that we're not really seeing, and I'm speaking from the outside in. So I don't know what to expect, man. I know LeBron's gonna be LeBron, but I also know that, and I got my fingers crossed. We trying to get Bronny to come over to USC. So if Bronny goes to USC, LeBron stays, 2 or 3 more years. Hopefully we can find people to play with LeBron. That's the big issue, because when I look at the Lakers, the question I ask is, who's your shooter? Michael Jordan was surrounded by shooters. Remember that. Michael Jordan was arguably surrounded by the greatest group of shooters in NBA history. When you look at them, BJ Armstrong, Paxson, you had Craig Hodges, you had Steve Kerr, you had Trent Tucker. He was surrounded by shooters for those 6 championships. So he drives. You gotta pay attention to him getting to the basket. Defense shrinks. He throws it out. Those guys knock down jumpers in key situations. I don't think LeBron has that, and I think that's one of the biggest issues for him.
Yeah, I agree. You look at the roster, and the shooters are Lonnie Walker and Austin Reeves, maybe Kendrick Nunn. Those are your shooters. I mean, we've seen this, man, on repeat. We'll get Sam in here as the Lakers fan up on stage to get a question and a thought in. And then we're going to close out on a wonderful opening day. Tonight, 8 p.m. here, we will be in Benchwarmers, hosted by Nat. I'll be the co-host. Once we get that up and running, you guys are not going to want to leave. Trust me. There's so much that goes on in terms of being able to really cut loose with your hot takes. And to give you one, I have a hot take for you. Russell Westbrook will still finish with more points, rebounds, assists, and steals than Patrick Beverley, even though he's not going to start. And even though he might not likely end up on the Los Angeles Lakers. That is my hot take, because I think it's done. I think Russell Westbrook will be out sooner rather than later. Sam, what is your thoughts on the Lakers tonight? And if you have a question for Mark, go ahead, and then we'll get ready to close out of here.
Chris, that ain't no hot take. I don't even know. That's mild sauce at best.
I'm saying something without saying something, Sam.
No, I know what you're saying, and I get it because I've been friends with you long enough. But I just wanted to tell everybody, great NBA tip-off, great show today. I did want to ask Mark a question. All of the players that you were with this offseason, it don't matter what team, it don't matter who they with, who showed the most improvement that took out something that would have been considered a wrinkle in their game that we can just look forward to be like, oh, they about to show a whole nother side of what they can do.
That's twofold. Devin Vassell, San Antonio Spurs. He was able to add about 5 or 6 feet of range on his jumper in a week, and we actually changed some of his movements as far as how he moved. He had his trainer from San Antonio with him the whole time for the weeks that we were working, and it was crazy because within 3 workouts, the trainer walked up to me and said, "You have him doing something I've been trying to get him to do for 2 years." You know what I'm saying? He did that in 3 workouts. And I was like, well, I've been doing this 28 years, and you're probably 28 years old, so yeah. But yeah, Devin Vassell, if he stays healthy, because he does have a lingering knee issue, I think we'll have a breakout season for them. They traded away DeJounte Murray, so that means Devin has to step up, and this is a contract year for him as well. So I know San Antonio is not a team that pays the Supermax and so forth, but I think Devin is looking to get that 150, 140 or whatever, a little bit higher because he's a starter from the team. But he made the biggest strides in the shortest amount of time. Jordan was Jordan. He was a machine, and I think he's ready to be a little bit more consistent because he did add about 10 pounds of muscle, usable muscle too, you know what I'm saying? So I think defensively, I think he's going to be a bigger asset defensively. He's not going to be a liability that we saw during some of the games in the playoffs because he wasn't just strong enough. And I think people don't understand that. I think defense, you have to be strong enough and you have to have just a better understanding of it. You know, when to be in help side, you know, how to just, you know, control your man a little bit and and that means you have to be stronger, which is why Steph Curry's defensive rating got higher, because he showed instances where he could defend and make plays defensively last year. So I think those two guys, but I think Devin Vassell more than anything will show a little bit more.
I love it, man. I'm a
Appreciate
huge
that.
Devin Vassell fan too. All right, that's it. We're going to go to Mark Edwards to get his last take on basketball on a wonderful NBA opening day. Tonight, Boston and Philly, Golden State and Los Angeles. But this is a time where you can sit back and you can actually hope and dream as a fan. And that's something that is wonderful. Like, just think that every team except for the Charlotte Hornets and in the NBA has playoff dreams, and I kid, but man, it seems like Charlotte is cursed this year. That is my last take. I feel bad for Charlotte fans. I know a few who are season ticket holders. They have never seen a team that had so much promise seemingly sputter so quickly as they have this season. That is a quote. And I do say that when LaMelo comes back, it'll get brighter, because I think that's how good LaMelo is. That's my final take of the day. Mark, what is yours?
I want to dispute the narrative that went on all summer about Kevin Durant wanting to leave the Nets and threatening, to have Steve Nash. It's either him or me. The information that I got was that was all a ploy to keep Kyrie in Brooklyn, because conversation was being had that Kyrie was going to be, shipped out to, shipped to the Lakers and so forth. He spent the summer out here working out, and we saw him buddy and laughing with LeBron, and he was everywhere in LA. He was at all the gyms working out with everybody. So the narrative was created. And it's crazy because Steve Nash was here as well, all summer, working with Ben and watching Ben and so forth. And so was KD. So this narrative was created, and I think the narrative was created, and the reason is KD didn't want Kyrie to leave. So to force their hand, saying basically it wasn't just about Nash, it was more about, if Kyrie is leaving, let me jump ahead of this or whatever. Trade me or Nash. One of us got to go. So once they calmed that down, as you guys noticed, the Kyrie conversation about Kyrie going to the Lakers, it stopped. It went away. Why is that? That's why. So that was the inside information I was given about that whole narrative, that it was all, Kevin Durant being, a smart person, because you have to think about this. His business manager and partner, Rich Kleiman, is a New York City native. He grew up in New York. He lives in New York. KD has the keys to the city in New York City. There's no place else in the country he can go where he'll have more access to every and anything he wants, than New York City, especially when Kleiman had that relationship with Rock Nation Sports and so forth, worked with them in music content and business and so forth. So KD has the keys to the city. So that narrative was all bullshit. And it did a good job of keeping Kyrie there.
Yeah, and you know what? I think they're going to be trouble this year. I think a lot of people are going to underestimate them.
Yes, because the ball movement that Ben Simmons brings to the table is going to make that team that much better. What we watched last year in the playoffs with Brooklyn, the Boston Celtics had an easy time defending them. They played gap defense, on KD, where you had Tatum guarding him initially, but everywhere KD to the right and to the left, you had someone playing in the gap, in that space. If he breaks Tatum down, gets loose of him and goes left or goes right, somebody was always there. What you didn't see was you didn't have Joe Harris on the floor. So there wasn't anybody for KD to throw the ball to for them to take a catch and shoot three. Kyrie doesn't take a lot of catch and shoot threes. He likes to score a lot off the dribble. So that hurt them. So it was easier to get them up out of here than normal, because we saw KD's shot being blocked by by Jason Tatum. Like, that was him being tired, him having too much usage. So with Ben Simmons, the ball is going to move. I don't know when Joe Harris is coming back, but when he does go back, it's going to make them even more dangerous. So I think if everything goes as the plan, I think the Brooklyn Nets come out of the East.
I wouldn't doubt it. They are dangerous, and I think the one reason why I'm starting to come around a little bit even more is Nick Claxton. I think he's put it together. He signed his contract extension. It wasn't going to be as high as he originally wanted, but I think once he realized that at the price that he got, it's really just a down payment on what he could get in the future. And if he is going to go, 7 for 7, 6 for 8, and give you 8 to 10 boards, 2 blocks, and a steal and switchable defense, he is going to team up with Ben Simmons, and they are going to be dangerous. Seth Curry and Joe Harris coming back healthy is going to be dangerous. That Royce O'Neal is a very underrated piece. You can ask Saint from Nets Kingdom when they traded for him. I actually said it's a good trade. The biggest issue they're going to have: T.J. Warren, Markieff Morris, and Day'Ron Sharpe. Can they be the bigs off the bench that can actually not suck, right? Like some of the rotations they had last year. So the Nets coming out the East is a huge possibility. A lot of it I think will depend upon health. But that's all we got for today. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming through. Thank Mark for coming. Shoot him a follow and stay abreast as he ascends, because the dude is just phenomenal, both in teaching the game and talking about the game. So I'm looking for big things in this year from Mark. From me to you, thank you. We'll be back tomorrow with actual basketball recap. Make sure you subscribe to the newsletter. Go to hoopspaces.com or go to my page. You can just click on it, put in your email address, and never miss a beat. Shout out to all the true hoopers out there, whether you play or not. This sport is for you, and we are happy to share our love and passion. See you tomorrow. Peace out. All right, that's it. Make sure you stop by our sponsor, though, slamgoods.com. And if you are of a certain age, you know exactly what Slam is. It was the best magazine that you could read about basketball and culture. They have a phenomenal online presence at Slam Online. That's the website, the parent website. But Slam Goods is where you can go actually buy the physical copies of the magazines. And if you've not experienced it, by all means, head over there. Check out the Rewind series. They have this one with Allen Iverson that will take you back in time to when you were younger and more innocent. Appreciate y'all. Slamgoods.com, promo code HoopSpaces. We'll see you tomorrow, 10 a.m. Peace out.